Alright, so picture this, we're in Japan at this super shady, isolated dock. And what's about to go down? A freaking auction. But it's not cars or art or anything normal. It's a young woman, like beautiful, vulnerable young women being sold off. The first girl up is described as Russian, about 5 feet 5 inches. And the way they're doing the bidding is insane. Guys are pointing laser pointers at her to bid. The price just skyrockets, starting at 800,000 yen, then 890,000 yen. Keeps going up fast, and finally, some dude with the number 1459 slaps down the winning bid. Just like that, the girl is snatched up and dragged off to her new owner. But hold on, out of nowhere, bam, a masked vigilante bursts onto the scene, and then chaos. 2 other people throw down smoke grenades, blinding everyone. Then, a girl on a motorcycle comes roaring in, scattering the bad guys like bowling pins. She's scaring them so badly that they are running wild. The masked dude keeps fighting, systematically taking down each of the thugs. Finally, it's just him and the sleazy MC of this whole operation. The MC panics and swings a club at the masked guy, knocking off his mask. The MC is all like, "Who the hell are you?" The masked guy just sneers, "I'm a taxi driver." Then POW knocks the MC out cold with one punch. Rewind a few days. We see a young woman trapped in a room. She's pounding on the door, screaming for help, but it's locked from the outside and guarded by some serious-looking dudes. She's desperate, but she's also smart. She gets an idea: the window. She stacks furniture like she's building a tower, climbs up, and starts smashing the window with her high heel. By the time the guards bust into the room, she's already out the window and running for her life. They're hot on her heels, chasing her down. She runs until she's totally exhausted. She thinks she is safe, and then boom, she runs into a cliff overlooking the ocean. She looks back and sees the bad guys. Knowing she can't let them take her, she decides to take the ultimate risk. Closing her eyes, she jumps off the cliff. Next thing she knows, she wakes up on the beach. She's alive, and next to her is a glass bottle with a business card inside. The card is for a rainbow taxi service, and it says, "Don't die, get revenge. We'll take care of it for you." Desperate, she finds a payphone and calls the number on the card. She cries into the phone, "My name is ECO. Please, save me." But before she can say anything else, the bad guys catch up to her and drag her away. On the other end of the line, a man named Sung Chul realizes something is seriously wrong when the call gets cut off. He knows this girl is in danger. Cut to a few days later, and the whole rainbow taxi crew is being called in. We see a guy named Do Ji walking through a secret door and taking an elevator down to an underground base. When he gets there, the whole team is waiting for him. Turns out, Sung Chul took a trip to Japan to investigate ECO's call for help. He found ECO's student ID hidden underneath the payphone. One of the team members, Goun, volunteers to go undercover as a student at ECO's school. But Do Ji has a better idea. He decides that a teacher would have more access to information, so he decides to go undercover as a teacher. The very next day, Do Ji shows up at the school as the new homeroom teacher for class 12A3. His fashion sense is unique. The girls in the class can't help but laugh. He tells the class to study on their own, then calls the class president out for a private chat. He asks her about ECO, and the class president says that ECO supposedly applied to go on a camping trip for some hands-on experience, but she doesn't know where she went. The class president is extremely curious about the new teacher, as he's asking such unusual questions. And Do Ji is wondering why she doesn't seem more concerned that her classmate has just vanished. Meanwhile, Sung Chul goes to visit ECO's grandmother to ask her some questions. Her grandmother tells him that ECO went to a boarding camp to study with friends. But Sung Chul notices something: her grandmother's eyes look like she has cataracts. He finds some research that ECO was doing on the cost of cataract surgery for her grandmother. Just then, Sung Chul calls Do Ji to give him an update. They both realize that ECO lied to her family and the school about going overseas about 10 days ago. Do Ji notices a female student is watching him from outside the classroom. He goes out to ask her what she wants to talk about. Ji says it is nothing, and she turns to walk away. Do Ji know they have something in common? Do Ji tells her they both worry about ECO, and that makes her cry. She then confesses to Do Ji that it is her fault that ECO is in trouble. JEE introduced ECO to an app on her phone and asked her to play some games. The rules of the game are simple. You just choose odd or even, and ECO won continuously when she started to play. So the next day, JEE gives ECO 50,000 won and tells her its winnings from the game. ECO is a little taken aback, but also extremely happy. If she can make money this easily, she can get her grandma's eyes fixed in no time. From that day on, ECO is glued to her phone, grinding in the game to make money. Every win is like a huge weight lifted off her shoulders. But when she starts losing, She completely loses control and gets super anxious. At first, the game was easy to win, but the more she played, the more she lost, until her points were all gone. And that's when she sees an ad for a point advance event. Juri tells her that she received an advance before, and ECO, not reading the terms and conditions, clicks agree without a second thought. Soon after, two thugs show up demanding late fees. They threaten her, saying that if she gets into debt from gambling, she won't be eligible for scholarships. ECO can't pay, so they give her a referral code. They say if she gets 5 friends to sign up within a week, they'll forgive her debt. That's when ECO realizes that JEE is also in debt to these guys, and that's why she recommended the game in the first place. The next day, ECO pretends to be playing the game in front of her friend, but ultimately her conscience gets to her. She can't bring herself to push her friend down the same path of gambling debt. Juri and his team discover that there are a lot of these simple games designed to trick kids into spending money. These point advance events are basically predatory loans. A 300,001 loan is broken down into smaller contracts under 100,001. Because of a loophole in the law, cash transactions under 100,001 aren't subject to interest rate limits. They're using this loophole to charge interest rates as high as 5,000% per year. The 300,001 loan balloons to 1,000,001 in less than 2 weeks. It's insane. Loan contracts with minors are actually illegal, but kids might not know the law, and they're actually gambling. The thugs even show up at ECO school to demand money. That night, they went to her grandma's house and threatened to take all her money. JE shows up to protect ECO and threatens to call the police. The thugs then threaten to call the police and tell them that ECO is also gambling, and it is against the law. The girls are scared, so they kneel down begging them to stop, and then they give an easy solution. Just go to Japan for a month, and the entire debt will be wiped clean. ECO is desperate, so she considers it. At least if it's too hard, she can just come home. JE feels guilty for what happened, so she decides to go to Japan with her. On the day of departure, Yiji's father finds out the plan and immediately confiscates her cell phone. During this time, ECO is standing at the meeting point waiting for her and called her, but no one answers. Then she starts her journey by herself in despair. Unable to contact, Yiji is worried sick about ECO, but she doesn't dare to say anything to anyone. The whole team understands that ECO has fallen into the trap of loan sharks. Juri jumps into his black car, which has been upgraded into a race car, engine roaring like a wild animal, preparing to hunt. At the same time, Go-eun and 2 teammates get into the support vehicle, inside equipped with state-of-the-art equipment so she can coordinate the tactics and assist Juri from afar. According to the data Go-eun traced, the organization behind it is Nico Money, a loan shark company with capital from Japan, specializing in seducing teenagers to gamble and then sending them to Japan when they can no longer afford to pay. They are definitely human traffickers. Sung Chul directs to focus on finding ECO first. Go-eun decides to use their own tactics against them. She goes to see Yiji asking details about how the game and the gambling operate. Then she engages in the game herself non-stop, intentionally losing as fast as possible to set a new record. As a result, just as expected, 2 thugs come to Go-eun, and because she is disguised, she plays the role of a girl living alone, with no family, no friends, and no one to depend on. Seeing how pretty and vulnerable she is, they immediately switch from threats to sweet-talking, starting to advise her to go to Japan to work for a month or 2 to clear her debt. Exactly the trap they laid for ECO. The plan succeeds, and Go-eun is put on a ship and then transferred to a transport truck, just like the process they used to do with ECO. At the same time, Juri and his teammates also set foot in Japan. Sung Chul arranges 2 more special taxis for Juri and the 2 older guys, but because of the left-hand driving in Japan, these 2 drive like they're about to crash into each other. The escort car takes Go-eun to a lively entertainment district. She cleverly turns on the camera hidden in her necklace so the whole team can follow. But as soon as she enters the room, the image immediately loses signal. Turns out they've installed a signal jammer. Juri hears the signal go down and immediately rushes into the building. The Japanese guys think he's a customer looking for merchandise, so they try to stop him. In the blink of an eye, Juri has taken them all down without breaking a sweat. He finds the room and sees Go-eun fighting a Japanese guy. It turns out they were trying to confiscate her belongings, so Go-eun accidentally knocked them all down. Juri looks around the room and feels a chill run down his spine. On the wall in front of him are hundreds of portrait photos of girls, all stuck closely together. Many faces have been crossed out in red. Nobody knows if they're missing, sold, or worse. Below are rows of suitcases and belongings, probably from previous victims. Juri grabs the Japanese guy and hangs him upside down in front of the door like a punching bag, then starts asking for information about ECO. But he claims he only receives people and deletes their identities and traces, and the cash is transported in a private car. Go-eun guesses it's the car that brought her here, and she managed to quickly take a photo of the license plate earlier. Meanwhile, Iseo has been taken back to the base. The boss sees her face is scratched and asks who's responsible for managing her. One of his subordinates steps forward and is immediately stabbed to death. The next day, the Rainbow Taxi team goes looking for an insider to infiltrate the human trafficking ring's hideout. Do-ji dresses up like a rich Japanese heir and picks a fight with a group of thugs, demanding 50,000 yen in compensation for daring to dirty his shoes. He's immediately taken to see the leader of the gang. He acts like he's all that, but Do-ji doesn't care. The leader challenges him to fight one of his guys, and if he can last 5 minutes, he'll buy him new shoes. A huge sumo wrestler steps out. All the underlings laugh, thinking they've already won. Do-ji calmly takes off his jacket, rolls up his sleeves, and jumps into the ring. He throws a few punches, but they just hit the guy's fat like it's nothing. The sumo wrestler throws him around like a sack of rice and squeezes him like he's trying to crush him. But Do-ji doesn't flinch. He retaliates with an elbow to the head. Sumo starts bleeding and gets mad, determined to take him down. Do-ji immediately locks his legs and twists his arm, causing him so much pain that he has to tap out and give up. Sumo is released and tries to play dirty, so Do-ji knocks him out for good. Before leaving, Do-ji writes his phone number on Sumo's back for their boss. To buy new shoes, call me at this number. Soon after, the information is reported to the boss that tonight's recruitment session has been cancelled because someone caused trouble. He plays the recording of Do-ji's fighting ring match, watching and smirking with amusement. The dangerous game officially begins. EP2, a girl who's been brutally stabbed by a client but is still barely alive. The head of the human trafficking ring finds out and just takes out a sock and strangles her to finish the job. Cold-blooded. The next day, the police find the victim stabbed 29 times with a wine opener, but the cause of death is suffocation. The investigating officers are Japanese cop Suzuki and Interpol agent Michael. Suzuki says the fingerprints and footprints have been wiped clean, so they can't identify the victim. But it's likely the woman who went missing from Hong Kong 2 years ago. The fact that the killer didn't even try to hide the body suggests the human traffickers are getting bolder. Meanwhile, the boss gets the news that someone caused trouble at the recruitment session. He watches the video of Do-ji's fighting ring match and his smack talk, and smirks with amusement. New shoes. Huh? Set up a meeting. Do-ji noticed a job posting for security and delivery in their gym earlier. Turns out they hold a wrestling competition every month to recruit personnel. At this time, he realizes he is being followed. Do-ji tells his 2 friends to keep driving straight at the intersection. He turned to the right and then stopped. The other car also stopped. The sumo wrestler then gets out of the car and starts causing trouble. Then police officer Suzuki appears and invites him to the police station. Suzuki asked him why a Korean man had a Japanese taxi. Do-ji gave him a smart aleck response, which made him mad. But at that moment, the owner of a Japanese taxi company called to rescue him thanks to Sung Chul's intervention. It turns out these 2 cops arrested Do-ji because he ruined their months-long plan. Suzuki wants to deport him immediately, while Michael thinks he's their only option left. Right after that, they release him and want to talk privately. Michael introduces himself as an Interpol agent. At first, Suzuki translates for Do-ji, but then he realizes that Do-ji not only knows Japanese but also speaks English. Turns out Michael is investigating the human trafficking ring that uses gambling games to lure girls from Hong Kong, Taiwan, and other countries to Japan. Just like Iseo's case. The head of the Nikko Loan Company is Matsuda, the boss. It turns out the sumo guy that Do-ji beat up was an undercover cop they were planning to put in. If Do-ji hadn't interfered, he would have been selected as Matsuda's bodyguard today. So Michael wants Do-ji to become a replacement mole. He's sure that Do-ji isn't just a regular taxi driver, but doesn't ask about his identity or purpose, just that it's mutually beneficial. Do-ji doesn't respond right away and just walks away. After hearing Do-ji's story, Sung Chul thinks cooperating for mutual benefit isn't a bad idea. While everyone is discussing how to deal with the situation, they run into a crazy, filthy character. It's Hoshino, an underling of the 3rd-generation boss of the Hinesima gang, the actual owner of the land where Do-ji and his team are selling their goods. This old guy demands 500 yen commission per customer and keeps rambling about his glorious past. He doesn't want anyone to breathe, so he doesn't sing his glorious past again. He said he was a Yakuza member who is now retired. Do-ji decides just to pay him to get it over with. Just then, the human trafficking ring calls, telling Do-ji to come get his new shoes. That very day, Do-ji confidently goes to the meeting place alone. After giving him a pair of new shoes, the boss behind the curtain demands he apologize for causing trouble in his territory. And the way to apologize is to leave one of his fingers. He tells his underlings to give him a knife. Right after that, a group of menacing Yakuza enters to intimidate him. Ji doesn't hesitate and starts fighting them one by one, easily beating them all. Finally, he kicks them into the curtain, revealing the boss's face. He asks if he can apologize with one of his underlings' fingers instead. Before Matsuda can answer, one of his guys runs in and tells him there's a problem. When Michael and Suzuki lead the police in, both Matsuda and Ji have escaped. Turns out Ji pretended to be a murderer from Korea who is wanted by the Japanese police. Even though Matsuda saved him, Ji still provokes him, calling him a loud-mouthed weakling who's all talk. Matsuda gets pissed and tells his guy to stop the car. The two of them get out all hyped up and start brawling. This boss has got some fight in him. Not sure if Ji is holding back on purpose or not. The two fight like crazy for a while and finally collapse on the ground, gasping for air. Just then, it starts raining hard, making them both annoyed. Ji says, "Great, I was getting thirsty anyway," making Matsuda laugh. His guy wonders if they've hit their heads or something. Matsuda has taken a liking to Ji and invites him to join his gang. But Ji doesn't accept so easily. This guy seems to really like him. Go-un has dug through all of Matsuda's company servers but still hasn't found any clues about ECO. Ji suddenly remembers that Matsuda wears a key on a necklace. Maybe that's where he keeps his top-secret documents. Matsuda seems to be very careful, not even trusting anyone under him. Just then, the old Yakuza guy comes demanding money for bringing customers. Seeing him ranting about his glorious past, Choi gives him 500 yen. Even with that, business is not profitable. Sungchul says that this old guy is a retired Yakuza, using this dirty way to make money. A group of thugs blocks his path, saying this is their territory. Ji realizes these guys are the ones from the gym the other day, and an idea pops into his head. Michael sets up a meeting with Ji to report that Matsuda is planning something. Money flow in all foreign branches is moving, so they need to take action. Ji says he needs Suzuki's help. At this time, the human traffickers are holding a regular meeting. After hearing the members' reports, Matsuda suddenly pulls out a dagger and places it in front of the long-haired guy, telling him to disembowel himself. It turns out the long-haired guy was inflating his reports to steal money. He frantically begs for mercy, but is immediately dragged away. In the Yakuza, betrayal equals a death sentence. Right outside Matsuda's headquarters, Ji deliberately starts trouble with a guy and beats him to a pulp. That's the signal he's been planning. Michael is secretly observing from the building across the street. The subordinate is actually Suzuki, and Michael thinks Ji is using his new power to punish someone from the past. This taunt immediately succeeds. Matsuda cuts off Ji's car and invites him to eat ramen. Knowing the boss hates traitors, Ji makes up a story about being betrayed by his best friend and losing his whole organization. The colorful shoes he's wearing are the last memento from his boss. Matsuda is very impressed and offers to recruit him to his gang. The salary is 10 times what he makes driving a taxi, but Ji refuses outright, saying he only wants to serve one boss. Finally, he agrees to work part-time as long as he can use his fists. Matsuda continues to test Ji by giving him a young girl without papers as a slave. Ji immediately refuses. Anyone who bows down and accepts that gift isn't trustworthy. Matsuda doesn't force him. Ji's first mission is to stand guard outside an auction. But when he looks inside, he's shocked. It's not an auction of objects, but of girls. The first item up for sale is a girl from Russia. The MC announces her height and measurements. The customers below select the item by shining lasers on the girl and bidding. Witnessing the girls trembling like objects being sold, Ji can't contain his anger and immediately requests assistance from his teammates. In an instant, Park and Choi start throwing smoke bombs, disrupting the auction floor. Ji puts on a mask, storms into the middle of the thugs, and takes them all down. Go-un rides her motorcycle straight into the battlefield, making them even more panicked. While Ji is cleaning up the goons, she unties the victims and puts them on a ship where Sungchul is waiting to take them away. After the rescue, Michael is furious because Ji ruined his chance to capture the whole organization and gather evidence. Ji criticizes Michael for only worrying about catching people and not caring about the victims. Suzuki thinks Ji is playing both sides and tells Michael to keep an eye on him. Unfortunately, ECO isn't among the rescued girls. She's still being held at the base. The group realizes the only one who knows ECO's whereabouts is Matsuda, the boss who doesn't trust anyone, not even his closest subordinates. To save ECO, they have to infiltrate his lair. But after what just happened, Ji will be the first one he suspects. And as predicted, all those working part-time for Matsuda are purged to silence them. Kill them all, and even the little mouse will die. When it's Ji's turn, he not only doesn't beg for mercy but stands up to him. You don't trust anyone because you kill them before you can trust them. You're more afraid of being betrayed than anything. The tension is thick in the air when Matsuda's phone rings. The voice on the other end identifies himself as the real owner of the land he's standing on and warns that the attack at the auction yesterday was just the first warning. It turns out it's Sung Chul, calling himself Hoshino, the third-generation boss of the Hinesima gang. Matsuda goes crazy and takes his whole gang out to hunt down the one who dared to invade his territory. Du Ji enthusiastically asks to come along. Thanks to that, he not only escapes death but also legitimately blends in with Matsuda's crew. When Matsuda's gang arrives at Hoshino's gang's hideout, Sung Chul, Choi, and Park come out to meet them. Sung Chul is deeply immersed in the role of Godfather Hoshino. Matsuda gets annoyed and immediately orders his men to charge. The three Hoshino guys pretend to draw their swords and rush forward, but after only 2 steps, Sung Chul spits out blood. Du Ji adds from below. If he's coughing up blood like that, he's probably about to die. Matsuda loses interest and turns to leave, but just then Sung Chul jumps up and tries to slash him. Du Ji immediately stabs him with a fatal blow, saving Matsuda in the nick of time. I hate backstabbing. From that moment on, Matsuda is indebted to Du Ji and promises to repay him handsomely. Right after saving him, Matsuda takes Du Ji back to his lair. There, Du Ji sees firsthand the young girls being forced to serve the gang. Unexpectedly, Matsuda opens up to him, saying that he's been betrayed since he was a kid, so he chooses to betray others first to avoid being hurt. He even brags about his hobby of taking pictures of good food, but having no one to send them to. Now he wants to send them to Du Ji. Then he proposes brotherhood. Brother, I'll prepare a worthy position for you. So Du Ji immediately bows his head and calls him Big Brother. Michael is furious when he sees Du Ji getting closer and closer to Matsuda. Du Ji doesn't explain, only reports that the boss will be holding a party to welcome him tonight. That night, the Sakazuki ceremony is held with great pomp. Du Ji and Matsuda sit opposite each other, raising their glasses in a toast of brotherhood before the entire gang. At this moment, Matsuda reveals, at first, when I told you to become family, if you had nodded right away, I would have killed you on the spot. At that moment, Hoshino's old Yakuza gang storms in. It turns out this is Du Ji's strategy of letting others do the dirty work. He took advantage of the elders' desire to return to their glory days to stir up chaos, while he played the role of savior, leading Matsuda to escape. Michael and the Japanese police raid the place, intending to arrest everyone, but Du Ji and Matsuda have already escaped. The police immediately give chase, but Du Ji easily loses them, making Matsuda trust him even more. When they return to the lair, Matsuda is stunned to see Du Ji opening his safe full of money and gold. It turns out he quickly grabbed his necklace earlier. Matsuda realizes that Du Ji is the mole, secretly gathering evidence of his crimes. He frantically asks why Du Ji betrayed him when he was going to give him the world. Du Ji calmly replies, because my vacation is almost over, and ICO has to go to school. Matsuda gets angry and attacks. This time, however, Du Ji is ready, and he beats him. To be honest, you are a boring fighter. Suddenly, he pulls out a gun and aims it straight at him. If there's going to be betrayal, I'll do it first. But before he can pull the trigger, he's shot by Michael. Right after that, ICO is found safe and sound. On the day of their return, ICO and Yiji emotionally hug each other and cry. Now Du Ji finds the 2 pimps who specialize in luring girls and gives them a beating. Finally, it's time to tally up the expenses of the operation. This is the most expensive case ever. Plane tickets, lodging, car rental, parking fees in Japan, the fine for Choi driving the wrong way, and even the amount they were ripped off by the old Yakuza guy. It's a substantial amount in total, but Sung Chul quickly collected a trunk full of money from Matsuda's place, so all expenses are covered. Over there, Suzuki looks at the empty trunk, still baffled and not understanding what happened. Alright, let's dive into a typical day at the Rainbow Taxi Company base. Park and Choi are diligently cleaning the windows when the beautiful Go-eun asks about the old van. It's been fixed for a long time, but Choi feels reluctant to sell it. Go-eun reminds them to sell it this week, otherwise they'll have to pay for insurance again. Then she gets into Du Ji's car. Turns out, Go-eun is taking her taxi driver's license test today. She's still studying traffic laws in the car. As expected, Go-eun passes her taxi license, and even brags that she almost got a perfect score. Du Ji is waiting to congratulate her and give her a super cute taxi model, making Go-eun smile. She enthusiastically invites him to be her first customer and promises to drive him until the gas runs out. That evening, a haggard-looking taxi driver, Mr. O, comes to see Sung Chul. Mr. O is a former Rainbow taxi driver who left to work independently to earn money to pay off his debt and support his daughter, who is about to take the civil service exam. Turns out Mr. O wants to borrow $3 million in cash for an emergency. Sung-chul agrees immediately and promises to withdraw the cash for him tomorrow. Mr. O thanks him profusely and hurries away. The next day, Choi and Park find a buyer for the car. The picky customer examines every detail. After a while, he agrees to buy the car but demands to go for one last test drive. They happily agree, so the guy gets in the car and drives away, never to be seen again. When they call him, his phone is turned off. They wait anxiously until evening and then wait all night in the rain. In the morning, they frantically ask Go-eun to find information about the swindler. Just then, Sung-chul receives a call from Mr. O saying he doesn't need to borrow the money anymore. Sensing something is wrong, Sung-chul hurries to Mr. O's house, where his daughter tells him that her dad had an accident and is in the hospital. She also found a divorce petition in his drawer. Sung-chul rushes to the hospital and is horrified to find Mr. O about to jump off the roof. Fortunately, Sung-chul manages to dissuade him from his foolish plan. Finally, Mr. O comes down and hugs Sung-chul, sobbing. Turns out Mr. O is falling into a terrible debt trap. To be able to drive his own taxi independently, he scraped together loans from everywhere and poured all his capital into buying a car. There, he was tricked into buying an independent taxi license at a price lower than the market price because the previous owner had health problems. To avoid being branded as undercutting the market price, they told him to sign a contract to buy the car at the market price, and he would receive a refund of 800,000 won each month. Mr. O was happily bragging to his wife and children when the license was suddenly revoked immediately. The reason is that the previous owner of this license had an accident while drunk driving. Under current law, if the owner is fined for this crime, the license will be revoked, regardless of whether it has been transferred to another person. The scammers knew this law well, so they quickly resold the dying license to him to make a profit. Mr. O runs around everywhere, from the police station to the complaint center, but receives the cold response that we are just following the law. He returns to the company to get things straightened out, but they say they don't know anything and even challenge him to report them to the police. He bitterly endures driving a taxi for hire to make a living. But not long after, he receives a call demanding 40 million won in compensation because an imported car rented under his name had an accident. When Mr. O goes to confront them, the scammers present the contract he signed. It turns out the 800,000 won per month that he thought was a refund was actually a fee for him to borrow his name to register for renting a luxury imported car. That clause wasn't in the contract he signed, but since he didn't stamp each page, it's hard to prove. When he angrily curses them as scammers, a big guy as big as a bear beats him mercilessly. The director, Cha Byung-jin, then stomps on his hand, challenging him to report them to the police, saying it wouldn't do anything because everything is legal. He loses his license and also shoulders a huge debt out of nowhere. Mr. O completely collapses. After hearing the whole story, the Rainbow Taxi team is furious. Mr. O also presses the green button on the game console. The revenge mission officially begins. The Rainbow team investigates and discovers that the company is actually a large-scale scam ring. The director, Byung-jin, is a former lawyer who had his license revoked for causing a fatal car accident and fleeing the scene. After getting out of prison, he used his legal knowledge to exploit loopholes and defraud honest people legally. The whole team goes there to investigate. Choi recognizes the scammer who took his car the other day and gets angry, demanding his money back. The scammer, Deok-soo, pretends not to recognize Choi at first, then changes his tune and says that the car's engine broke down during the test drive, so 10 million will be deducted for repairs according to the agreement. Choi gets angry and tries to fight him, but the big guy carries him outside. Go-eun finds the imported luxury car that the scammers used Mr. O's name to rent. They rent this car out for more than 15 million per month to customers who can't rent it themselves, definitely criminals or soon-to-be criminals. If they cause an accident, Mr. O will have to bear the brunt. The three scoundrels in the imported car speed recklessly and drive into a pedestrian street. When they hit a pedestrian, they arrogantly threaten to make him pay for damaging the car. Everyone is upset but doesn't dare to do anything. Do-ji rushes up to block them and forces them to stop. One of them gets out of the car and tries to hit him. At that moment, two teammates drive a van and trap the scoundrels in a narrow alley for Go-ji to beat them. Then he confiscates the car and brings it back. However, the problem is that the car rental contract is still there. Mr. O still has to pay compensation. To solve the root of the problem, Do-ji decides to break into the lair to extort more money from them. Today, a naive young man comes to the showroom to buy a car. He just got a job at the factory and wants to buy a safe car for his wife, who is 7 months pregnant. Knowing they've found a fat chicken, they trick him into signing a contract to buy a car at a bargain price. After he signs, they pull out a missing page of the contract and force him to pay an additional 20 million in remaining value. The naive man realizes he's been scammed and declares he won't buy it anymore, but they demand 20 million won in cancellation fees. He threatens to report them to the police, and the boss, Cha Byung-jin, comes over, without saying a word, grabs a stick and starts hitting him. Then he forces his subordinate Deok-soo to grit his teeth and stand straight so he can hit him. It turns out they're doing this to get an injury certificate and then report the customer to the police for assaulting an employee. Byung-jin also says he knows the man's address and threatens to cause an accident to his wife and children. At this point, the buyer is frightened and begs for mercy, eventually being forced to take the car he never wanted. Just then, Do-ji drives in like crazy, crashing into the back of the other car. He pretends to be flustered and apologizes, accidentally spilling coffee on the contract and stomping on it. What to do? The contract is void. Seeing Do-ji wink, the buyer is overjoyed, says he doesn't want the car anymore, and runs away. The boss, Byung-jin, demands that Do-ji compensate him for damaging the car and canceling the contract. He then plays the role of a rich man, obediently agrees to pay compensation, and buys the car. Seeing this, Byung-jin has Deok-soo draw up a contract with him. Finally, Do-ji has to buy the used car at an exorbitant price. Not long after leaving the showroom, the car suddenly accelerates on its own, loses control, and loses its brakes, almost causing an accident. In a dangerous situation, Do-ji quickly thinks and steers the car backwards, crashing straight into the construction site at the Venner. Thanks to that, a tragic accident is avoided, but the strong impact leaves Do-ji unconscious. Fortunately, Do-ji is unharmed. When they check the car, Choi and Park discover it's a level 3 flood car, the most dangerous level. If the water floods the engine, the car may stall while driving or accelerate naturally, causing an accident no different from a mobile time bomb. But the scammers are extremely sophisticated. They replaced all seatbelts, steering wheel bolts, door car rubber, and even the fuse box to hide traces of mud. But Go-eun still finds a spot with mud stuck on it. According to the law, cars flooded to this level should have been destroyed, but they were still sold, meaning they have connections to get flooded cars. These days, Mr. O is still hiding out, not daring to go home because he's ashamed of his wife and children. Sung-chul has transferred the ownership of the luxury car to himself to take on the debt and ease Mr. O's burden. Do-ji secretly follows and overhears the scammers selling a taxi license to Mr. O for 100 million. While they only bought it for 1 million, he is determined to make them pay 100 times over. Just then, the TV reports heavy flooding in a certain area due to heavy rain. The boss, Byung-jin, immediately smells an opportunity and tells his subordinates to prepare a truck to carry goods. Sure enough, when they get to the junkyard, they buy 7 expensive cars that were just flooded. These cars have no insurance, so there are no flood records. Buyers at the store will have no idea what they're buying. It turns out this is how they get these flooded cars. In the middle of the night, Do-ji sneaks into the junkyard office to find evidence. It turns out they're using the car owner's documents to destroy the car to change the name of ownership. The junkyard owner discovers him and tries to attack him, but he knocks him out. The flooded cars are brought by noblesse to a secret workshop to be cleaned and touched up before being sold at a high price. The most terrible thing is that Byung-jin tells his assistant to sew the exploded airbags skillfully instead of replacing them. At this time, his subordinates report that all the cars bought at the junkyard yesterday have been deregistered. Byung-jin gets angry and calls the junkyard owner, but can't get through, so he orders them to put everything in storage and make cars. Then he rushes to a nightclub to meet his customers, all wealthy young men. He is respected by these guys as a leader because he has legal knowledge and specializes in advising them on how to circumvent the law when committing crimes, such as hiring prostitutes and then causing accidents while drunk. These bad guys are also the ones who rent his luxury cars under other people's names and then do crazy things. Choi and Park pretend to fight and accidentally go into their room, then apologize and leave. Turns out the two of them secretly placed cameras under the floor. Thanks to that, they know that these young men are the customers who buy cars for Byung-jin. Because of the money, he insists on putting these dangerous cars on the road. If he's so greedy for money, they will use money to bring him down. The next day, Do-ji transforms into a rich fool again and goes to buy a used car as a surprise gift for his girlfriend. When they see him come, their eyes light up, and they immediately introduce him to a bright red car. Upon inspection, he finds out it's also a battered car that was flooded. A few days later, Do-ji continues to buy used cars at another store where Deok-soo likes to wait and swoop in to steal customers. They're very suspicious of him buying more cars. Is that fool two-timing and buying each girl a car? The next day, Do-ji brings a truck to buy 4 cars, making Deok-soo's eyes widen. This news immediately reaches boss Byung-jin. They are all extremely confused about life. That idiot buys cars without checking or bargaining at all. Just then, the assistant reports that the idiot has come to buy a car again. This time, Doo-ji uses the excuse that he broke up with his girlfriend and needs to buy a new car to relieve his sorrow. He also deliberately flashes several stacks of money to tempt them. Following the same procedure as before, after Doo-ji signs the contract, Byung-jin presents the inserted contract page and forces him to pay another 7 million in remaining value. Thinking he would demand to cancel the contract, he agrees to pay with a check. The scammers are extremely confused. They don't understand what this fool is planning to do. Unable to resist their curiosity, they follow Doo-ji. Seeing that the fish have taken the bait, he lures them to the used car gathering place. They only see Doo-ji putting the keys of the newly bought car into a machine and pressing a password, and the machine automatically spits out stacks of money. After Doo-ji disappears, the others rush to check the cars, all of which are old cars and are in other places. They are even more confused and don't understand what he is doing, gathering dozens of cars here. Money laundering or planning to use them for drug trafficking. Byung-jin approaches the automatic machine and tries to find the password, but can't. So he angrily smashes the machine to pieces and orders his subordinates to arrest Doo-ji. Not long after, Doo-ji returns to buy a car again, bragging that he has a new girlfriend. They immediately tie him up to interrogate him. Without even being hit, Doo-ji blurts out that he's found an idiot. If he buys used cars for himself, he'll pay the entire purchase price plus a 10% commission. But he doesn't know why he's buying the cars. He also has a contract in his pocket to buy 100 cars, but so far, he's only gathered 30 cars for that idiot. He deliberately buys one car at a time to avoid suspicion. Byung-jin immediately demands to cooperate with Doo-ji. Just waiting for that, Doo-ji happily agrees. After checking, Noblesse only has 36 cars in stock. Adding the 30 cars that Doo-ji has gathered makes 66. That leaves 34 cars short. Un immediately spreads fake news online about a taxi company near their house being flooded due to a burst pipe. All the cars are submerged in water. Sung-chul then floods the cars with water to make it look real. That night, Byung-jin goes to the parking lot to check, confirming that the cars are indeed flooded. At this time, Sung-chul appears as the director of the bankrupt taxi company. Byung-jin immediately offers to buy all 30 flooded taxis at a price slightly higher than scrap metal, even bringing a suitcase full of cash. Of course, Sung-chul puts on a happy face and immediately prepares a sales contract. When he happily loads the cars, he demands 500 million for the remaining value in cash. The same trick he did to Mr. O. Your contract doesn't have that clause? Let me add a special clause here. Who told you not to stamp? Knowing he's being tricked, Byung-jin angrily calls the big guy to threaten him. But Sung-chul is ready to fight. Recognizing him as the rich fool, Byung-jin realizes he's been tricked from the start. For old time's sake, although the contract can't be cancelled, I'll give you a chance to exchange. Then Doo-ji shows them the collection of toy cars. Byung-jin gets angry and tells the big guy to go up. In short, with Doo-ji giving 2 punches, he ends up on the floor. The others charge but are also beaten. Byung-jin retreats and calls the young men, promising to give them supercars for free for a year. After they all arrive, Doo-ji then provokes them to lure them all to chase him. They think they'll easily catch the beat-up taxi. The cars in Doo-ji's are what they seem. He accelerates to nearly 300 kilometers per hour, leaving all the supercars in the dust. After Doo-ji lures them into the tunnel, Park closes the door, trapping them all. When they're searching for him, Doo-ji drives out, crashing straight into them. Thanks for coming all the way here. Saves me the shipping fee. The contract says to exchange new cars for supercars. Didn't you read carefully? Turns out Doo-ji guessed he wouldn't pay, so he came up with this plan to confiscate the supercars. Byung-jin gets angry and tells his subordinates to charge. But to Doo-ji, these minions are just flies. The big guy is also defeated in 3 seconds. The boss Byung-jin also pulls out a knife and charges. Doo-ji quickly disarms him and beats him to the ground. To end the revenge, Doo-ji gives them the experience of sitting on the mobile time bombs that they sold. Does the car you're sitting in look familiar? The assistant frantically recognizes it. It's a flooded car. I sewed the airbags on this car. The scammers scream in despair, experiencing the extreme fear that the innocent victims had to endure when driving the flying coffins they sold. This is the price to pay for disregarding other people's lives for money. Mr. O has returned home with his wife and children and started working again. The Rainbow Taxi team not only saved one innocent person but also an entire family. The mission has been completed successfully. The Rainbow Taxi team gathers for a delicious barbecue, but they probably won't get to rest for long. In a dark watch repair shop, a strange character holds a Rainbow Taxi business card in his hand with a line full of gunpowder. I'm gonna kill you all. Is he an enemy of Rainbow Taxi or a victim who needs revenge? Today, the Rainbow Taxi team is organizing a cooking event for the children at the orphanage. Sung-chul has a sore wrist from playing dodgeball too enthusiastically with the kids, so Go-eun nags at him to go see a doctor. Suddenly, Sung-chul receives a call from an unknown number. The voice on the other end says it's almost time to meet Dong-hyun. Today is the day he's released from prison. Sung-chul is stunned, calls him Dong-soo, and tells him to wait there. He'll be right there. Sung-chul immediately rushes to the prison, but Dong-soo is nowhere to be found. He asks Go-eun to track the number that called. The result is that the call came from a public phone booth near the nursing home. Sung-chul goes to the nursing home and meets Dong-soo, but he doesn't recognize him and doesn't remember making a phone call. It turns out that 5 years ago, Dong-soo was in a serious traffic accident. It was a hit and run, and they couldn't catch the culprit. After that, Dong-soo's illness worsened, and he was transferred to this place for care. Knowing that he has a lot of unpaid hospital bills because of his difficult circumstances, Sung-chul quietly pays off all the debt. Do-ji looks for Sung-chul but can't find him. Asking Go-eun, he learns that he asked him to track a phone number and then disappeared. From that moment on, Do-ji goes to the bar. Sure enough, the director is drowning his sorrows there. When he presses him, Sung-chul tells the story that has haunted him for the past 15 years and is also the reason why he founded Rainbow Taxi. That year, Dong-soo's son, Min-ho, disappeared after a fight with his teammate, Dong-hyun. At the court, Dong-hyun and his accomplices denied it. In the end, the court only sentenced him to 5 months in prison for assault. Meanwhile, Min-ho is still missing without a trace. Dong-soo cries desperately in court. "Where's my son? Give me back my son's body." Coincidentally, Sung-chul was also at the court at that time and witnessed everything. Dong-soo's wife died early, and he considered his son Min-ho as his only source of life. Now his son has disappeared, and the suspect easily escapes punishment. He leaves a suicide note, demanding justice for his son, and then goes to the bridge to prepare to jump. Fortunately, Sung-chul appears in time to stop him. "Even if you do that, they'll never investigate again. Don't die, let's get revenge together. I'll help you." Finally, he persuades him. From that day on, Sung-chul visited Dong-soo's watch shop every day and researched Min-ho's disappearance with him. The two of them went to ask Min-ho's schoolmates and the football team's coach, but everyone said they didn't know anything. The frequent meetings made them become close without knowing it. Sung-chul asked the judge to provide the case documents, but he said that the defendant had taken all the evidence. He then goes to the law firm and makes a scene to demand the case documents. The lawyer threatens to sue and put him in jail, but Sung-chul challenges him to do so. "If I go to jail when I get out, I'll come here and smash your car." Seeing that he was too crazy, the lawyer ran and gave him the case documents. The two of them watch the surveillance footage from that day and see Min-ho being brutally assaulted by Dong-hyun. Then he struggles to his feet and runs away. Sung-chul discovers that Dong-hyun turned around to talk to someone outside the frame, which Dong-hyun never revealed to the authorities. Dong-soo goes to the prison to ask Dong-hyun about the person who was in the locker room that day, but he doesn't say a word and refuses to meet him from then on. Sung-chul believes that he must have something to hide. However, he still wonders why Dong-soo always insists that his son is dead. He should have hoped that his son was still alive somewhere. Dong-soo says that his son came to him in a dream, telling him not to look for him anymore. Sung-chul encourages him, and they both make a plan. Wait for Dong-hyun to get out of prison to make him tell the truth. But on that fateful day, Dong-soo suddenly disappears without a trace, leaving Sung-chul waiting in vain. Going to Dong-soo's house, he only finds an empty house. Back in the present, Sung-chul is always tormented because he didn't find Dong-soo sooner. The Rainbow team decides that since they made a promise 15 years ago, they must fulfill it to the end. The problem is that Dong-soo's condition is getting worse, and he's only conscious for about half an hour a week. Sung-chul knows that there isn't much time left to talk to Dong-soo, so he stays in the hospital. Tonight, Dong-soo has a delirium and hears his son calling him, so he rushes into the middle of the road. Fortunately, Sung-chul manages to save his life in time. When reviewing the case file, Do-ji discovers an important detail in the security footage of Min-ho leaving the Nam dorm. The person in the video is wearing a backpack on his right shoulder, while Min-ho is left-handed and always wears his backpack on his left shoulder. Likely, the person in the video isn't Min-ho, but someone impersonating him to create false evidence that he ran away from home. The team starts to act. Go-eun quickly finds Dong-hyun's whereabouts. Just out of prison, he immediately has money to buy a fancy apartment. Now he's the owner of a gym, but is in debt. Do-ji drives a taxi to wait outside. Sure enough, he gets into his car and goes somewhere with a lot of cash very suspiciously. Turns out he's going to a funeral home. The strange thing is that the parking lot is full of dusty cars. Do-ji follows him up, but is stopped at the door. Thanks to a camera device with a super high antenna, The team discovers that this is actually a disguised gambling den under the guise of a funeral. At the casino, Dong Hyun makes a big bet of hundreds of millions. The Rainbow team deduces that his going to prison may be to cover up a bigger crime or a mastermind. And that fancy apartment is hush money. To force Dong Hyun to reveal himself, Do Ji starts to play psychological warfare. That night, Dong Hyun sees a leaflet on his car window. Then the staff reports a call asking about him from someone named Min Ho, and then there's a letter asking about him taking the blame for someone else. Dong Hyun frantically runs to see the surveillance camera, but sees someone dressed exactly like Min Ho used to be when he sent the letter. He frantically rushes to the volleyball court to meet Song Yu-K, who is now the coach of the university's volleyball team. Dong Hyun asks Song Yu-K, "Are you sure Min Ho is dead? Did you bury him well?" Song Yu-K gets angry when the past is dug up and threatens to bury Dong Hyun as well. So it's clear, Song Yu-K is the accomplice, possibly even the main culprit. They don't know that Do Ji has heard everything. Meanwhile, at the nursing home, Mr. Dong-soo dreams of his son and suddenly wakes up. He suddenly recognizes Sung-chul and takes his hand, thanking him in tears. Sung-chul promises confidently, "This time I'll do it. I'll find Min Ho for you." It turns out that 15 years ago, Song Yu-K deliberately drove a truck into Dong-soo so that he couldn't continue to investigate his son's death. Sung-chul is investigating that car accident, but it's been 15 years, so there's no trace, and Dong-soo himself can't remember it. Back at the volleyball court, Song Yu-K reassures Dong Hyun that Min Ho definitely can't contact him. "No matter what happens, I'll protect you." Dong Hyun feels relieved after hearing that. According to Go-eun's investigation, Song Yu-K used to be a professional volleyball player, but his performance was very poor. For some reason, after retiring, he was able to become a coach at a university. To extract Dong Hyun's secrets, Do Ji decides to use money because he's too addicted to gambling. The next day, he storms into the disguised gambling den at the funeral home. The guard there tells him to exchange money. Do Ji doesn't know what to do, when suddenly someone pops out from behind a picture and tells him to give him the money and go inside to get Finn. At that moment, someone with a hidden camera is dragged out by the people of the casino. Go-eun guesses that they have a camera detector, so she tells Do Ji to withdraw temporarily. But Do Ji is afraid that if he leaves now, they will be even more suspicious. So he pretends to drop all the money on the ground and then plays the role of a superstitious person. Afraid of dropping money because it's bad luck. "Well, let me go home and pray to my ancestors and come back later." Thanks to this improvisation, Do Ji is not suspected by them at all. But if they don't bring a hidden camera in, the team won't be able to help Do Ji. And without Go-eun help with the gambling, Do Ji would be helpless. At this time, Mr. Choi suddenly volunteers. It turns out that in the past, he worked at a research institute in the wilderness. When he had free time, he had nothing to do but gamble. That's why he has cultivated skills that are no different from a god of gamblers. But if Mr. Choi goes in alone and just keeps winning, they will be suspicious. So Do Ji will go in with him to help. The important thing is to act so that they believe that they don't know each other. Do Ji goes in first and pretends to lose continuously to Dong Hyun. Mr. Choi comes in later and waits until Do Ji leaves before sitting in his place. It turns out Do Ji lost all his money, so he went out to ask Go-eun for money to play more. Mr. Choi wins continuously, so a guy at the table gets bored and leaves. Just as Do Ji comes back, he takes that spot. Mr. Choi takes charge of dealing the cards, intending to take down Dong Hyun in this round. However, at this moment, he gets a phone call. As soon as he finishes listening, he hurriedly leaves. Do Ji then uses that as an excuse to leave, while Mr. Choi has to stay behind so they won't be suspicious. Dong Hyun hurriedly runs to his room and then dives into the office. But there's no camera in there, so Do Ji can't know what he's doing. Go-eun then volunteers to go in to find out. She plays the role of a curious bird who wants to meet the owner of the gym for an interview. Despite the staff trying to stop her, she still innocently opens the door and storms straight into the director's room. However, there's no one inside. But as the two of them are pulling her out, Dong Hyun appears behind the door and asks what's going on. Go-eun then pretends to be looking for the wrong person and immediately leaves. Clearly, he didn't have a room before, but he appeared like a ghost just a few seconds later. Something is shady in his room. Meanwhile, Dong-soo dreams of his son and the night of the accident 15 years ago. He tries his best but still can't remember any clues about the driver who hit him. When he wakes up, in the few moments of lucidity, he feels extreme pain because he can't find his son. Sung-chul comes back and discovers Dong-soo lying unconscious on the ground, his wrists covered in blood. The nurse says this isn't the first time he's wanted to end his life. Sung-chul accidentally finds a notebook hidden under the mat next to Dong-soo's bed. In it, Dong-soo records the few memories he has whenever he is lucid. Min Ho likes the group SNSD, likes bibimbap, and likes to take pictures of the sunset. Then there are also fragmented memories of the accident, a big truck. Sung-chul discovers a series of numbers that Dong-soo wrote all over the wooden cabinet and quickly takes a picture of them. Meanwhile, Dong-hyun stays in his office for 5 hours before coming out. But Do-ji can't break in because the gym is open 24/7. People are constantly coming and going. Finally, Do-ji decides to buy the gym outright to find the secret. Back at the casino, Do-ji plays cards. In the first game, he plays mind games, betting without even looking at his cards and still winning clean, making Dong-hyun start to panic. In the next game, Mr. Choi is still shuffling the cards. Do-ji plays big, goes all in without flipping his cards, and one player folds. Dong-hyun is annoyed, thinking Do-ji is all talk, so he puts all his money on the line and follows to the end. Do-ji keeps raising the bet to 100 chips and then doubling it. Dong-hyun gets a good hand, so he thinks he's sure to win this fan and brings the gym to a mortgage for the life or death game. Do-ji then makes him write a black and white paper properly before agreeing to play further. Dong-hyun flips the card and laughs triumphantly. Unexpectedly, Do-ji flips the card and gets the biggest card in the deck, taking all the money and the gym. Dong-hyun loses everything and screams, saying Do-ji is cheating, but he can't do anything to him. Do-ji happily takes the gym keys and leaves. The next day, Do-ji comes to take over the gym openly. Just changing owners, he removes all of Dong-hyun's pictures and hangs his own to create power. After that, Do-ji goes to watch the volleyball game of the university team led by Song Yu-kei. After the game, Song Yu-kei gives Dong-hyun 20 million won and tells him that tomorrow's game is extremely important. Immediately, Dong-hyun runs to pay the installments to redeem the gym, but Do-ji kicks him out. He has to lower his voice and beg to rent the director's room for 1 day only, because tomorrow is more important to him than his life. Finally, Dong-hyun grits his teeth and spends all his capital of 20 million won. Then Do-ji agrees. The next day, they all follow him through the camera and discover that he goes to a secret room in the office. Sung-chul shows the team the picture of the numbers Dong-soo wrote on the wooden cabinet. It seems he's trying to remember a 4-digit number. Do-ji immediately guesses that it's a license plate number. Sung-chul quickly returns to the nursing home, knowing that Dong-soo always uses a watch to store memories, just like he used to record the door lock code with seemingly broken watch hands. Sung-chul gives him Min-ho's watch. Sure enough, when he remembers the license plate number of the truck from that year, Dong-soo turns the hands and gives it back to him. The watch shows 12:3. Meanwhile, at the gym, Dong-hyun disappears for exactly 5 hours in the secret room. Waiting for him to leave, Do-ji immediately takes action. He sprinkles milk powder on the glass surface, revealing the fingerprints as 4 numbers. Go confirms that it is the last 4 digits of Dong-hyun's phone number. The door is immediately opened, and at this moment, Do-ji realizes the truth. Dong-hyun comes here to control a match-fixing ring. He assists Song Yu-kei in directing the players to hit poorly, slip up, and manipulate the outcome of the game according to the planned scenario. At the same time, Sung-chul searches the vehicle registration files and finds clues about the truck that caused the accident for Dong-soo, and the driver that year was none other than Song Yu-kei. EP7 in today's game, Gwangjin School's Yun-tae makes mistakes continuously, bumping into teammates and mishandling passes. Coach Song Yu-kei stands outside, yelling loudly and reminding his students to focus, but Ji-hoon notices that the coach is giving ambiguous signals to Yun-tae. He angrily yells at Yun-tae and tells him to talk to him after the game. After the game, Song Yu-kei calls Yun-tae into the room to talk about it in a manipulative way. He pours out words like pouring honey. This profession is very harsh, and the salary is just a joke. Then he gives him a thick envelope to pay him for his work. The amount is many times the salary, making Yun-tae overjoyed. But he's still worried because Ji-hoon has suspected their signals. Song Yu-kei reassures him not to worry about the last game of the season, and he'll take care of Ji-hoon. It turns out that Song Yu-kei's way of taking care of Ji-hoon is to hire someone to beat Ji-hoon unconscious. The next day, he comes to the hospital to visit, pretending to blame Ji-hoon for not taking care of himself during the season, and then gives him 20 million, telling him to get well and come back. Leaving the hospital, Song Yu-kei receives a call from Dong-hyun reporting the incident at the gym. It turns out that Dong-hyun pulled the internet cable from the basement to use, hoping to avoid revealing the location. The server is located abroad, and it uses a super difficult password to solve. But Go-eun cannot stop her hacking. That's why he spends money on the place. The betting mechanism is actually very simple. They bet on odds that are almost impossible to happen with extremely high odds, like in the second half, bumping into a teammate or failing to pass 3 times in a row, or in the third half, the ball hitting a direct point 3 times in a row. Dong-hyun follows the good odds and reports them to Song Yu-kei. Song Yu-kei will execute it in the game. Thanks to that, they earn 500 million in just 3 hours easily. Go-eun intends to shut down the betting website immediately, but Do-ji tells her to leave it alone. It turns out he wants to use this website to find Min-ho. The thing to do is to win over one of their links. Meanwhile, Song-uk is angry and hits Dong-hyun as soon as he sees him, forcing him to get to the gym back tomorrow at all costs. The money-hungry addict Dong-hyun goes to the casino again, but he loses more and more until he's about to be kicked out. Just as he's about to be humiliated, fake Min-ho shows up. He throws the gym contract on the table and demands to bet on it. Dong-hyun gets a bad hand and thinks he's going to lose again. Unexpectedly, Do-ji shakes his head and says his hand is boo and gives up. Dong-hyun flips the card and realizes that it's a good hand. He hurriedly chases after Do-ji to ask for an explanation. Suddenly, Do-ji answers in an annoying voice. After he said, "Is more tired than I thought." Then he introduces himself as Min-ho. Making Dong-hyun cold and shivering, he asks him to go out and have a drink, but he's too scared and runs straight away. Waiting for him to come out, Do-ji stealthily hits him, then takes him straight to the secret room. When Dong-hyun wakes up, Do-ji pretends to say that yesterday the two of them went out to have a drink. He got so drunk and let him hear. Not only did he read the password and let him press it, but he also bragged about the betting scam. Do-ji praises the idea of setting up the betting as too good and suggests a line to make big money. Do-ji then leaves, leaving Dong-hyun sitting and shivering. If Song-uk finds out, he'll kill me. Sure enough, Song-uk has been calling him non-stop since yesterday. Dong-hyun calls back and uses the excuse that he was too drunk and overslept. When they meet, Dong-hyun stutteringly suggests moving the office, but Song-uk immediately denies it, only telling him to check the betting odds carefully. Dong-hyun returns to the gym, changes the password for the secret room, and hires a group of thugs to ambush Min-ho. Unexpectedly, Police Officer Park shows up and demands to check, because there's a report that illegal gambling is being organized here. As soon as the thugs see the police, they run away. After Mr. Park leaves, Do-ji slowly appears. To be honest, I was so happy that I accidentally bragged to my friend about the betting scam. I didn't expect him to play me like this. Dong-hyun is annoyed but can't do anything. Go-eun collects videos of the Gwangjin School's games for the team to watch. Everyone clearly sees that every time Song-uk gives a signal, Yuntae immediately makes a mistake. Yuntae even deliberately injures his teammates because there are betting odds on injuries during the game. The team believes that this is the last game of the season, and they will make a big move. Do-ji decides to win over the rotten bud Yuntae to his side. Immediately, Go-eun transforms into a beautiful female student and blends into Yuntae's school. She casually sits next to him and holds out her phone, telling him to unlock it. Yuntae, a sucker for girls, immediately unlocks it. Go-eun pretends to want to get Yuntae's phone number to get to know him, but in reality, she hacks into his phone to copy the data. A few seconds later, Yuntae receives a message from the beauty. It turns out to be an advertisement for a fortune-telling service, saying that his luck today is absolutely 5 stars. Immediately after that, Mr. Choi pretends to be a janitor and leaves a notebook in the toilet. Yuntae sees 100 euros sticking out, so he steals both the money and the notebook. Inside the notebook are also stacks of money and detailed information about the university players. In it, Yuntae is rated 5 stars with the greatest potential. Seeing the business card with the name Kim, Yuntae searches the internet and sees that Kim is a European-recognized volleyball representative who specializes in supporting Asian stars. Of course, those articles were written by Go-eun himself. Immediately after that, Do-ji transforms into a stylish and elegant Kim with a European style. Then, borrowing Sung-chul's car, his sudden appearance has made Yuntae's eyes widen. He immediately recognizes him as Kim, the representative from Italy who has highly praised his prospects. Do-ji continues to pretend to follow the team's practice to find potential stars. Just then, Go reports that Dong-hyun is coming, and he may run into him at the football field. Unexpectedly, Do-ji casually takes the initiative to meet him, saying that he came to meet the coach to discuss the betting scam. He also threatens that if he doesn't cooperate, he will report him to the police to receive a reward. Dong-hyun is furious but can't do anything, so he has to promise to arrange for Do-ji to meet the coach. Later, Yuntae follows Do-ji to the coffee shop. Do-ji acts deeply, pretending to brag to his assistant that he has just discovered a talent, Yuntae. He also deliberately speaks Italian, and as expected, Yuntae uses a translation device. Hearing that Do-ji is discussing finding a potential libero in Korea, the kid is touched, thinking that his life is about to change. Go-eun reports that soon after Do-ji leaves, Yuntae immediately searches the internet for the European Volleyball League. This is human psychology. They are suspicious of information that is offered directly to them, but they trust absolutely what they find themselves. He followed and looked for information about Kim, so he naturally believes it without a doubt. Song Uk gives Dong Hyun a stack of money and tells him to work carefully. This is the last game of the season, so he will make a big one. Just then, Do Ji suddenly appears and greets Dong Hyun as if they are very close, then deliberately mentions volleyball. He pretends to just recognize Song Uk as the coach of the Gwangjin school's team, then invites him to eat sometime to discuss business. Song Uk is suspicious, so he asks Dong Hyun. Dong Hyun is evasive, so he has to admit that Do Ji has discovered the secret room. The amount of betting money this time is very large, so Do Ji believes that he has become a thorn in their side. Sure enough, Dong Hyun calls to invite him to dinner to discuss business with coach Song Uk. Do Ji immediately discovers that the address he sent has no restaurant at all. He then drives an old car to the meeting point. On the way, a group of construction vehicles appears and competes with Do Ji's car, forcing him into a construction site. At the end of that section, there is a tow truck waiting. Fortunately, Go warns in advance, so Do Ji avoids it. Two cars chase after him and squeeze Do Ji's car in the middle. In front, two other cars have chains waiting. The other two separate, causing Do Ji's car to crash straight into the chain, overturn, and explode. Song Uk receives a video of the burned-out car and is sure that the thorn Do Ji has gone to a faraway place. Suddenly, Song Uk asks what that guy's name is. As soon as he hears the name Minho, he immediately gets angry with Dong Hyun. Of course, Do Ji can't die that easily. As soon as he dodges the tow truck, he secretly jumps out, letting the car continue forward and have a tragic accident. They finish attacking. Now it's our turn to counterattack. The next day, the final of the university volleyball tournament takes place. Do Ji again plays the role of Representative Lorenzo waiting outside. Sure enough, Yun-tae comes and returns his notebook to him. He introduces himself and confesses that he has seen some of the content inside, so he knows what he came here for. Do Ji praises him for having natural talent, even able to succeed in European leagues, but he can't make any more mistakes because the number of mistakes in each of his games is too many and too even. Yun-tae is touched and almost cries, promising to play well today. During the game, Song Uk again signals Yun-tae to make a mistake in the first pass. He nods in agreement, but wanting to impress Kim in the stands, in the next play he makes a great first pass and helps his team score. Gaining confidence, Yun-tae continues to play brilliantly, making Song Uk and Dong Hyun furious. Just then, Do Ji calls Dong Hyun, revealing that he is watching the game from the stands. Dong Hyun is very scared to see him still alive and immediately runs to find Song Uk. During the intermission, Song Uk calls Yun-tae aside to remind him. Unexpectedly, Yun-tae asks to compete with his real strength. Maybe he will have a chance to play in Europe. Song Uk sneers at his unrealistic dreams and threatens that if he doesn't want to ruin his life, he has to do what he says. However, he has been brainwashed by Do Ji completely. In the next half, he still plays like he's possessed, constantly helping his team score. Finally, the Gwangjin team wins and wins the championship, but the coach is furious because all the betting money has been lost. He rushes to grab Yun-tae's neck to ask for an explanation, but he unexpectedly threatens to expose his betting scam. Please apologize to Minho. Then Yun-tae points to the stands where Do Ji is playing the role of the unlucky victim, Minho, from that year. Just then, Dong Hyun also runs over, asking loudly why Minho hasn't died. He was sitting in the stands just now. Hearing this, Song Uk gets even angrier and hurriedly chases after Do Ji to get things straight. Unexpectedly, when he gets to the changing room, all the name tags have been changed to Minho. Pictures of Minho are posted everywhere. Running outside, he hears two guys, Choi Par, K, discussing the body of Minho that has just been discovered. Song Uk is extremely panicked, running to the deserted hill while calling his boss to report the situation. It turns out that Minho was buried next to someone's grave that year. Song Uk frantically digs for a while and finds Minho's old uniform. At this time, he breathes a sigh of relief and immediately calls his boss, unaware that Do Ji has seen everything. The boss doesn't seem happy to know that Song Uk dug up to check. At this point, Song Uk realizes that he has made a big mistake. Song Uk's boss, Gwangjin, is organizing illegal boxing matches in Thailand, forcing the players to fight brutally to livestream and earn betting money. Just then, his subordinate reports that a betting website he set up in Korea has just been shut down. Gwangjin immediately calls Song Uk to ask for an explanation. When he learns that his subordinate dug up Minho's grave to check, Gwangjin realizes that the situation is not good, so he tells his subordinate to book a ticket for him to return to Korea immediately. Going back in time 17 years, when Minho, Song Uk, and Dong Hyun were players in the Gwangjin school's team, and Gwangjin was the team sponsor. Gwangjin often generously buys the whole team this and that. Each time like that, Song Uk and Dong Hyun happily receive it. Only Min Ho firmly refuses. But Gwang Jin is too enthusiastic, and the two friends urge him, so he has to accept it once. He accidentally sees Gwang Jin secretly giving Song Uk a piece of paper and instructing something. In the game the next day, Song Uk continuously makes mistakes, making Min Ho very annoyed. After the game, he catches Song Uk and Dong Hyun discussing something, so he curiously takes the paper to see. Unexpectedly, it contains instructions for them to make mistakes in today's game. Min Ho immediately understands that his two friends have gotten involved in gambling. Soon after, Gwang Jin finds Min Ho to talk privately, reminding him that he has helped him many times, and then asks him for a favor. Min Ho guesses that he wants him to participate in fixing the game. He says that he doesn't need to sell the entire game, just make a few mistakes as directed. In return, he will be paid handsomely until he turns professional. Unexpectedly, Min Ho says straight out that he will report him to the police. Whether Gwang Jin threatens him or uses reason to persuade him, he resolutely refuses to compromise with that dirty game. Having said that, Min Ho hasn't decided to report him to the police because he still feels guilty about his two best friends. He calls his dad to confide, and his dad tells him to do what he thinks is right. Min Ho then finds Dong Hyun and advises him to confess so that he can be treated leniently. Unexpectedly, Gwang Jin is also there and hears everything. He gets angry, grabs a stick, and beats him, then orders Dong Hyun to continue hitting him. Dong Hyun doesn't dare to disobey, so he hits Min Ho once and then drives him away. The surveillance camera has just recorded Dong Hyun hitting Min Ho, which is in Gwang Jin's calculation. He tells Song Uk to go with him, and Dong Hyun to stay here for 5 more minutes before coming out. Min Ho, who is staggering from the head wound, is hit straight by a car. The culprit is none other than Gwang Jin. Dong Hyun is panicked when he learns that Min Ho is dead, but Gwang Jin threatens that if he reports him to the police, he will become a murder suspect. He tells Song Uk to wear Min Ho's clothes and go into the camera frame, creating false evidence that Min Ho is still alive. Then the two of them bury Min Ho next to Gwang Jin's grandmother's grave. Because Min Ho's body was not found, Dong Hyun only received a 5-month prison sentence for assault. This light sentence makes Min Ho's dad extremely angry. Not long after, Song Uk reports to Gwang Jin that he met Dong Hyun in prison, and it seems he knows that Dong Hyun has an accomplice. That night, Gwang Jin lures Dong Soo out and drives a truck into him. Seeing him lying motionless in a pool of blood, he thinks that he is dead. Back in the present, Gwang Jin has just returned to Korea and goes straight to his grandmother's grave. Even though he sees that the police have found Min Ho's body, he is still very calm. Sung Chul believes that the murderer of Min Ho is Song Uk, but Do Ji is still wondering because when digging up the body, Song Uk calls someone as if he is asking for permission. There may be another culprit who has never been revealed. That day, Song Uk is summoned by his boss, Gwang Jin. When he arrives, he is horrified to see Gwang Jin playing fishing rod, and the big fish is Dong Hyun, his friend. Dong Hyun begs for his life, but Gwang Jin still drowns him to death. Then, he turns to ask Song Uk to explain everything, why he dug up the body. The police have confirmed that the bones found are Min Ho's. The cause of death was a traffic accident because there were signs of complex fractures all over the body. That night, Min Ho's remains will be transferred to the hospital morgue for the funeral. Unexpectedly, Gwang Jin and his gang attack the car and steal the body. Choi and Park are preparing for Min Ho's funeral when they receive news that the remains have been stolen. Just then, Go runs in a panic and reports that Dong Hyun's gym has been burned down, and he was found dead at the scene. But that's not all. TV reports that Yuntae has confessed to fixing the game under the orders of coach Song Uk, the one who was found drowned. The Rainbow team believes that the one who caused all these things is the culprit who has not been revealed. Do Ji suddenly worries that Mr. Dong-soo is in danger. As he guessed, Gwang Jin has found Dong-soo. He ridicules him as a senile old man and guesses that someone is helping him find his son, Min Ho. That night, he takes him out of the hospital. Fortunately, Sung Chul and Do Ji arrive just in time. Sung Chul rushes in and is hit by a thug. Do Ji immediately takes action to avenge his boss. Gwang Jin understands that he is the one who is helping Dong-soo. Do Ji also immediately knows that Gwang Jin is the one who stole Min Ho's body. Suddenly, Gwang Jin pushes Dong-soo's wheelchair down the slope. Fortunately, Do Ji manages to catch him in time. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Gwang Jin immediately gets in the car, throws him the phone, and drives away. He realizes that Do Ji is dangerous, so he orders his subordinates to prepare special tools. It turns out that Gwang Jin is the grandson of the late president who founded the Gwang Jin University Foundation. Money from betting websites flows into his pockets. and Min-ho's grave is his grandmother's grave. The problem is that Min-ho's remains are now in his hands, which is the only evidence left. If it is destroyed, the truth of that year will be buried forever. So the team decides to act immediately. Guangjin calls Du Jiai, promising to pay him double the amount that Min-ho's dad paid him. Du Jiai demands to meet in person before talking about money. He sends the address and threatens that if he arrives late, he won't find Min-ho's bones anywhere. The location is an abandoned middle school. A subordinate checks that there is no car following before letting Du Jiai in. Guangjin tells him to follow the path with the X mark on it. He recounts that when he was young, he killed a friend. His grandmother realized that he didn't do it by accident. So she built this school to lock him up right after he graduated from elementary school. Du Jiai follows his instructions to a statue. On the ground is a suitcase with many cameras inside. It turns out that Guangjin is making Du Jiai play a survival game. If he wins, he gets the remains, and if he loses, he will destroy everything. The school bell rings when the first half begins. Du Jiai wears a camera and goes inside, seeing that they are as crowded as soldiers surrounding them from all sides, each wearing a camera on their chest. It turns out that Du Jiai's battle is being broadcast live on the dark web abroad for viewers to participate in betting. The war god Du Jiai takes down each with a hammer without talking too much. Guangjin is very pleased because the betting money is increasing at an astonishing rate. Meanwhile, Choi and Park discover a chimney with black smoke rising nearby. Du Jiai climbs to the top floor and locks the door tightly. Unexpectedly, waiting for him is the second half, with a group of thugs looking even more ferocious than the previous ones. Du Jiai then puts on his gloves to play dry blood with them. After a fierce battle, Du Jiai has defeated the thugs in the second round. He asks Go-eun to find the broadcasting room, guessing that Guangjin is there. Guangjin connects the corridor camera to monitor Du Jiai. Unexpectedly, Go-eun takes action, causing his monitoring system to lose signal completely. Viewers begin to leave, making Guangjin furious, and he immediately orders his subordinates to hunt Du Jiai. When Du Jiai finds the control room, it is also the moment the third half bell rings. A guy with twin swords comes out to greet him. Unexpectedly, he is knocked down in a single note. Guangjin lures Du Jiai to follow him to make a lot of money. In response, Du Jiai picks up the teacher's stick to hit them. When the two underlings are knocked down, Guangjin takes action. This last boss is extremely formidable. After a long battle, Du Jiai knocks him down. Then come the punches like the sky, releasing all the anger for the victims who were destroyed by him. At this time, Guangjin is really scared, intending to use Min-ho's remains to negotiate. Unexpectedly, Du Jiai says that he doesn't need them. It turns out the other two had managed to find the remains before they were cremated. Guangjin offers to pay Du Jiai 10 times, then 20 times, but Du Jiai responds with a kick that sends him down the hole that has been dug. Falling from the third floor is equivalent to being hit by a car at a speed of 60 kilometers. Min-ho and his dad must have felt that pain when you hit them with a car. Du Jiai places an hourglass. 3 minutes is the amount of time each day that Min-ho's dad is conscious to remember his son. Does anyone remember you? Then Du Jiai throws sand to bury the evil man. In another place, Mr. Dong-soo dreams of meeting his son, Min-ho, in the middle of a beautiful sunset. He apologizes for being late, but Min-ho comforts his dad for working hard. Waking up, Dong-soo personally sends his son to rest in peace under the sky that he loves. Through the rearview mirror, Du Jiai sees the satisfied smile on his face. EP9 tonight. Like every other night, Du Jiai drives his familiar taxi through the deserted streets. But tonight, he picks up a special passenger. The young girl confides that she's a trainee in a girl group, dreaming of becoming an idol to bring hope to everyone. Du Jiai deeply respects that dream, and throughout the ride, the girl always has a smile on her face. At a long bridge, the girl gets out of the car, leaving behind a seemingly peaceful smile. Du Jiai continues to drive around the bridge to pick up his next passenger. But at the moment he turns his head, he suddenly realizes something is wrong. The girl who just got out of the car has disappeared. His intuition tells him something is wrong. Without a moment's hesitation, Du Jiai jumps out of the car and dives straight into the cold river. And this time, he saves a life. The girl is currently in the hospital and is no longer in danger. However, the test results show that she is severely malnourished. Go-eun thinks this is a consequence of extremely harsh training, but the girl's suicide note, which Du Jiai picked up, reveals a darker truth. In the letter, she tells the other members that she has never done anything wrong to them, but to protect the group's dream, she is forced to accept all this filth. Go-eun suspects that the girl has been falsely accused or harmed. At that moment, Du Jiai receives a call from the hospital informing him that the girl has regained consciousness. But as soon as she wakes up, the company's manager immediately shows up, ignoring her health and demanding to take her away. In the parking lot, the girl is extremely scared and doesn't want to go back to the company, resulting in being slapped in the face by the manager. Even after being knocked down, she still desperately begs. At that moment, Dooji's taxi rushes in, crashing straight into the manager. After he is knocked out, the girl gets into Dooji's car. Knowing that Dooji is the one who saved her from the water, she breaks down in tears and tells the whole story. Her name is Romy, and she and her best friend once shared the dream of becoming idols. They sent hundreds of dance videos to entertainment companies. Finally, a company called them for an audition. The company's representative seemed very satisfied, but asked them to drop out of high school to focus on training. For their dream, the two of them defied their parents' objections and dropped out of school, packing their bags for the city with high hopes. However, when Romy discovers the contract, it stipulates that trainees must pay for the huge training costs. The CEO explains that the company will advance the money as a venture investment. Later, when they debut and become big stars, they will repay the company. The two girls are reassured and sign the contract, becoming official trainees. Here, they join 3 other girls to form a 5-member group with Romy as the leader. The trainees' life begins with extreme rules, handing in their phones every night, reporting their weight every morning, and an absolute ban on complaining to their families. Although the rules are many and harsh, thinking of their bright dream, the 5 girls agree immediately. In the following days, Romy and the members begin to train extremely hard. Although it is difficult for the sake of their dream, everyone grits their teeth and endures. The hardest thing is not the training but the pressure to manage their weight. If their weight exceeds 40 kilograms, they will be called pigs and forced to lose weight to 38 kilograms. One member was so hungry that she had to hide in the toilet to secretly eat a banana. After a year of hard training, the girls are overjoyed when they see the promotional video for their debut single. Seeing themselves shine in the video, they think that heaven is right in front of them. Tasting the sweet taste of their first success, the girls work even harder. But what awaits them is not their dream debut but the beginning of hell. One night, the manager takes Romy away from the dorm, saying it's for a private recording. After drinking the bottle of water he gives her, she passes out without knowing it. When she wakes up, she is not in the recording studio but in a luxurious hotel room full of foreign wine. Romy is terrified and just runs away. She tells Juri about this, but the manager denies it, saying she got out of the car on the road on her own. Juri suspects that Romy has been losing weight excessively, leading to confusion, and even scolds her, reminding her not to let personal matters affect the whole team. Not long after, she shows Romy an anonymously sent video, which is the scene of her appearing obscurely in the hotel that night. She warns that the company cannot solve this matter temporarily, so she has to take care of it herself. With no other way, Romy asks for help from department head Jiang-soo. Jiang-soo says that the person who sent the video gave a condition that the video can be deleted, but she must date that person for a year. He threatens that if she selfishly refuses, the whole group will be ruined, unable to debut, and will have to compensate a huge amount of money for breaching the contract. Not wanting to implicate the dreams of the other members, Romy returns to the hotel as requested, but she still runs away in the end. On the evening of running away from the hotel, Romy writes a suicide note, thinking that only her disappearance can completely solve the problem. After hearing Romy's story, Dooji and the team decide to investigate the truth of that night. The next day, Sung-chul pretends to be a prosecutor to search Romy's management company, taking away all the documents in the CEO's office. Among them, Go-eun finds the video of Romy being secretly filmed. When she looks closely, she discovers that there is another person besides Romy. The shadow reflected on the ice bucket in the room is that of department head Jiang-soo. It turns out that he is the one who orchestrated the whole thing. To infiltrate the company, Dooji drives the car, hitting the manager again, causing the position of manager to be vacant. After that, Dooji and Sung-chul deliberately go to the restaurant that CEO Juri often frequents to perform a play. Dooji pretends to be an applicant, showing absolute loyalty to his superiors. Seeing this, Juri actively invites him to be the new manager, the condition being that he must absolutely listen to her. Only Mr. Park, who is an extra, is slapped in the face, causing stars to explode. With the identity of the manager, Dooji comes to the company and witnesses the situation of the girls firsthand. Just because they focus on dancing, they don't look at the camera. They are slapped in the face and insulted badly by Juri. Romy's best friend asks about Romy's situation, but she only tells her to focus on practicing to prepare for her debut and not to think wildly. Then, taking the opportunity to charge the computer for Juri, Dooji secretly transfers the data to Go-eun. After a few minutes of suspense, the data is copied successfully. While Go-eun is checking, Dooji receives a call from the CEO telling him to take the pen from the glove box of the passenger seat. It turns out that there is a listening device in that pen. She asks Doo-ji to bring it to record all the conversations of the trainees, and warns him not to be friendly or laugh with them, otherwise he will be fired immediately. That night, Jae-young-soo shows Doo-ji a picture of Romy, asking him if he sees Romy anywhere, he must report it to him immediately, and absolutely not let Romy meet the other members. Returning to the base, Mr. Park removes the listening device from the pen so that Doo-ji can talk normally with the team. Go-eun discovers the shocking truth in the contract that the trainees signed. Each member is actually carrying a debt of up to 40 million won per month. They also find the hotel where Romy was secretly filmed. That night, Doo-ji goes to the hotel to investigate, but is almost discovered by CEO Juri because she also suddenly appears there. Doo-ji is forced to hide in another room to avoid being revealed. Tonight, a girl group is busy preparing for their first debut. The moment they have exchanged for sweat and tears, a member suddenly cries out in pain from her leg, but the manager still forces her to suppress the pain to get on stage. Unfortunately, there is a problem backstage. The girls are kept waiting time and time again, their bodies exhausted and their spirits weary. As a result, when the official performance comes, an accident happens. The girl slips and falls off the stage, and a nail on the wooden board pierces her leg. Due to severe tissue necrosis, she can only be amputated in the end. The girl chokes back tears and wonders what she should do with her dark future. When she hears the nurses talking pityingly about her, she loses control, grabs a pen on the table, and attacks the other person as if to fight the whole world that is turning its back on her. Turns out that the unfortunate girl is CEO Juri. Back with the Rainbow Taxi team, Doo-ji and his two colleagues have begun their work. They infiltrate a tightly guarded entertainment facility, which has a secure camera system that is not connected to the outside network. After Mr. Park connects the hacking device to the electrical system, Go-eun gains control of the entire building's surveillance cameras. She immediately informs Doo-ji that Juri is drinking and discussing business with a famous TV director. She doesn't feel sorry for Romy at all, but only wants to focus on exploiting the remaining members of the group. She gives director Lee a gold card and asks him to keep an eye on the Elements group. Suddenly, Juri hears a strange noise outside. Going out to check, she sees that the sensor light is on, which is very suspicious. Fortunately, Go-kip tells Doo-ji to run away. When she pushes the door to check, she doesn't see anyone. Doo-ji is hiding behind another door inside the room. Go-eun cleverly turns the sensor light on and off continuously. Juri thinks the sensor is broken, so she temporarily doesn't suspect anything. At this time, Doo-ji realizes that this room is where Romy was secretly filmed. The Elements are still practicing to be ready for their official debut tomorrow. In front of the camera, Juri forces the girls to show perfect but fake smiles, absolutely not to reveal their true emotions. But after the practices, the members still don't forget Romy. Message after message is sent, filled with encouragement and faint hope that their friend will return to the group. Romy doesn't reply even once, because she is afraid that if she appears, her friends will be discouraged, distracted, and take her pain to the stage tomorrow. Juri also appears in the place where Romy was secretly filmed, so she may be the one who directed Jae-young-soo. However, there is not enough evidence to conclude at this time. Doo-ji decides to temporarily put the investigation aside, because tomorrow is Element's official debut. As a manager, he wants to ensure that the girls have a smooth and complete debut. The next morning, Doo-ji leads the four girls into the TV station's hall. But on that day, a superstar senior returns, so no one cares about the girls. In addition, director Lee casually calls the group by the wrong name, Elephant. However, the four girls still maintain a professional smile. We are Elements, the elements that make the world happy. Right before the debut recording, an accident happens. Jian suddenly faints from exhaustion. Jae-young-soo carries Jian to the hospital, leaving Doo-ji alone to negotiate with the TV station to postpone the performance. But the TV station coldly declares that if there are not enough people, the performance will be cancelled. At that moment, Doo-ji makes a bold decision to go on stage himself, dancing in place of Jian. And when the stage lights turn on, he comes out with an aura no less than that of a real idol. The climax is the heart-dropping wink at the end of the performance, like a fairy descending to earth, making the entire studio gape. It turns out that throughout his time as manager, Doo-ji always dances along and has memorized every move. After the debut, Doo-ji takes the group out for a satisfying meal. Seeing Doo-ji being friendly with the girls, Juri wants to test his loyalty. She orders him to hit Jian for almost ruining the company's business. Doo-ji has no choice, but as soon as he is about to take action, Mr. Park suddenly appears and pretends to cause trouble. The two of them coordinate well, turning Mr. Park into a punching bag to take the blows for Jian. The play is so convincing that Juri completely believes him, not only erasing all suspicions, but Doo-ji also officially enters the ranks of confidence and is actively asked by her to return the listening pen. After that, Doo-ji accompanies Juri to the shopping mall. At this time, he realizes that she is particularly obsessed with shoes. Entering the store, she buys 4 pairs in a row without thinking. Perhaps because she lost a leg, this is how she fills the void in her heart. The training video of the girls has been completed. Seeing themselves on the screen, the whole group is full of expectation, waiting for the day of their debut. Unknowingly, the moment the video is completed is also the moment they begin to fall into the abyss. The next day, the old landlady introduces a tycoon to Director Kong. By listening in, Doo-ji and Go have learned the true face of Juri. On the big screen, the girl's training video is playing for the tycoon to choose. As long as he likes someone, Juri will force her to date him in the same way she did to Romy. The tycoon is eager to meet Soo-young immediately, but Juri sets a few days later because she needs time to destroy her dreams already. After the tycoon leaves, Director Lee arrives. He is indeed a famous TV director, but the videos he shoots for the girls are all private business received from Juri. The fake stages are built only to deceive the girls and to shoot videos for the tycoons to watch. Doo-ji and everyone finally see the true face of Director Kong. From the beginning, she had no intention of letting the girls debut. The purpose of training the girls is only to turn them into toys and tools for serving alcohol to the tycoons. Juri continuously pulls the soon-to-debut idols down the abyss, taking the destruction of other people's dreams to compensate for her failure from that year. The taxi team decides to punish this evil gang. Doo-ji meets Romy, turns on the recording of Juri's conversation with Director Lee, and gives her the right to choose. Romy follows the instructions on the card to the designated location and presses the blue revenge button without hesitation. Immediately, the Rainbow Taxi team begins to act, determined to repay the evil gang 100 times. Like Romy, Soo-young is also secretly filmed. Juri again brings up the reason for the group and the debut to force Soo-young to accept dating the tycoon. Soo-young is afraid of affecting her friends, so she has to reluctantly agree. At this time, Department Head Jaeyoung-soo is driving to pick up Soo-young to meet the tycoon, unaware that he is the first target of Doo-ji. Doo-ji suddenly turns on his headlights and flashes past him. Immediately after that, he drives the taxi that has been modified with sharp hooks sticking out and hits it hard on the back of his car. Then he accelerates to the maximum, finally steering and hitting his car, causing it to flip over several times. This type of incident could cause permanent disability. At the same time, the tycoon asks 2 of his friends to come to play with Soo-young. Unexpectedly, when they enter the room, there is no beautiful girl but Choi. "I'm Soo-young. Didn't you call me here?" Immediately after that, Park comes out again. "I'm Park Soo-young. You called me here and planned to run away?" Finally, Doo-ji also appears. Without saying much, he grabs a bottle of alcohol and smashes it on his head. 2 colleagues take care of treating this guy next. As for Doo-ji to punish the rest, the next one to be punished is Director Lee, who is recording a live TV show. Suddenly, the speakers in the studio play a recording of his secret conversation with Director Kong. Lee immediately loses control, frantically trying to turn off the sound, but to no avail. He immediately ran out to pull the speaker wire, but the overhead lights suddenly fell and crushed him on the spot. Very quickly, Juri saw the media reporting on her dirty crimes. The floor below has been completely surrounded by reporters. She hurried home to collect gold to escape. But no matter where she goes, the cameras follow closely. She was too desperate, so she hid on the roof. Call the department head, but no one answers. She then calls Doo-ji and tells him to pick her up. Unexpectedly, as soon as she stepped onto the roof, she saw that he was waiting. "What's it like to really debut? I wanted to turn you into a star, so I decided to become your manager. Anyone can fail, but if you fail today, you can start again tomorrow. The one who fails only once and then continuously falls into the abyss is you." At this time, Juri realizes that it was Doo-ji who exposed her crimes. But she still doesn't regret it, arguing that the girls can't become stars anyway. She is only helping them make money. Suddenly, dozens of drones fly up at the same time, shining brightly on Juri. The blinding light reminds her of the time she fell off the stage and broke her leg. She screamed and swung her purse to ward off the drones. But in a panic, she tripped and fell. Doo-ji rushes over to grab her bag, but the bag is torn, so she can only hold on with one hand. Finally, Juri gives up, actively letting go and falling down, ending her sinful life. After the revenge ends, Romy is finally reunited with her friends in the group. Because Juri's case was exposed, the group's story quickly spread online. Many fans post articles supporting them, asking them to officially debut. Finally, this music group, which almost disappeared, was able to stand on the debut stage, taking the first steps towards their dream. In the bustling fish market, a man wearing a hat quietly gets into a car and leaves, looking like he's waiting for fish delivery. Reaching a deserted sea, he carries down a body wrapped in a bag, puts some money in a piece of paper, and then puts the body on a raft and pushes it out to sea. Meanwhile, Choi is driving when he meets an old acquaintance. Maria asks him to help a girl named Dasam. The girl had saved her pocket money for over a year to buy gloves to give to her father, who is in the hospital due to a traffic accident. But instead of warm gloves, the scammer on the used goods app sent the girl a brick. Hearing this, Choi intends to compensate the baby, but Dasam wants to use her own money to make gifts for her father. Then he decides to help the girl get back 98,000 won and teach the scammer a lesson he will never forget. Meanwhile, in the taxi garage, the team is worried about Choi's unexplained absence. Not long after, Choi returns looking miserable with a sad face. It turns out that Choi intended to act as a hero to catch the scammer for Dasam, but unexpectedly, he became a victim. First, he went online to order a phone to lure the scammer to show his face, and even transferred the money in advance to gain trust. Unexpectedly, he received the money and evaporated. He tried to buy a bicycle with half a deposit, and again lost everything. The total damage is up to 5 million. The police are helpless because the bank account and SIM card are all virtual, and the money has been laundered abroad. So Do Gi has to work. Based on the tracking code, Do Gi and Go went to the sender's address, but when they arrived, they saw smoke rising. The two broke the glass and rescued a woman named Minyoung. It turns out that Minyoung is also a victim of the scammer. Because she had to take maternity leave at home, she bought cheap baby items on the used goods website. When the goods were delivered, she realized she had been scammed. Inside, there was only a brick and a provocative picture. "Thank you, I caught you already." Because she had paid in advance, the other side didn't answer the phone. No matter how many times she called, she had to go to the local police station to report. After checking, the police found that this information did not belong to one person, and the phone number was spam. They told her to go home and wait for news. They would contact her as soon as there were results, but she didn't know exactly how long it would take. Knowing that this was just lip service from the police and that the case would likely be shelved, Minyoung decided to deal with the scammer herself. She posted all his information on the used goods website, reminding everyone to be careful not to be scammed. She also went to each of his posts to comment, warning that this post was a scam, with absolutely no transactions. Soon after, the scammer called to threaten her. Her actions had clearly angered him. From that day on, her phone was flooded with strange calls and countless spam messages. It turned out that he had changed his contact information to hers. The next day, she had to change both the phone and the new number. But when she got home, she saw a group of shippers delivering food, all paying upon receipt. She explained that she didn't order it, but the shippers didn't accept any reason, and in the end, she had to swallow the bitter pill and pay for all the food. Before she could even breathe, she heard a knock on the door. When she opened the door, an old lady rushed in and cursed her as a scammer and demanded her money back. She was dragging her outside while shouting loudly for the neighbors to hear that there was a notorious scammer in this building. Fortunately, the local police quickly arrived to stop her. Somehow, all of her personal information has been posted online, and she is mistaken for the real scammer. Every day, she receives a series of abusive messages. Because of this, her husband's job has been affected in many ways. He doesn't listen to her explanations and only tells her to stay at home. Today, she goes to the hospital alone for a prenatal checkup. As soon as she finishes the checkup, she receives a call from the scammer again. Even though she has changed both the phone and the number, he still knows all her information. Immediately after that, he also sends a picture of her entering the hospital. Now, Minyoung realizes that all of her actions are in his hands. On the way down to the hospital lobby, she sees everyone looking at her with very strange eyes. Feeling that her personal information has been completely exposed, she quickly calls the police and is invited back to the station. It turns out that recently, the police have received many reports of scams, and the accused account belongs to her. No matter how she explains, they don't listen, and the more she pleads, the more desperate she becomes. To avoid being harassed, the couple decides to move to a new house, thinking they will be safe. But before they can stay for a day, he calls again. She threatens that she is recording the call and will report it to the police, but he still challenges her. "Can the police protect you? They can't catch me, but I can catch you anytime." Before she can hang up, food is delivered, still paying upon receipt. Minyoung desperately begs him to spare her. The scammer then sends the account number and says that if she transfers 30 million, he will spare her. But for a pregnant woman without a job or savings, that number is far from reality. At this time, there is a knock on the door from many shippers, and the pressure is overwhelming. In just a moment, she faints on the spot and has a miscarriage. Go-eun searches and finds that most of the scammer's information is fake, but through the recording, she can recognize the voice. Based on the picture he sent, they found a building across the street with a similar shooting angle. Through the surveillance camera, Go-eun quickly identifies the target and finds a detective company. When Do-ji asks who hired them to take that picture, the boss refuses to tell and calls a group of thugs to teach him a lesson. As a result, the group is beaten to a pulp by Do-ji. At that time, the boss gave information about the person who hired him. But unfortunately, that information is Choi's. So the personal information of the victims is being used arbitrarily. Go-eun wonders why they have to hire private detectives to torture the victims like that. Do-ji believes that the chain of revenge actions against Min-young from the beginning has followed two completely different styles. One is a petty and cowardly scammer, but hard-working. The other is a cruel person who likes to hit others. The one who hired the private detective must belong to the latter. After determining that this is a professional scam organization and not an amateur one, Go-eun comes up with the idea of fighting poison with poison. Instead of going to find them, they will lure them to come themselves. Go creates a fake website selling tickets to the first concert of the increasingly popular idol group Element. The whole Rainbow team transforms into crazy fans, commenting, hitting hearts, and mourning because they can't buy tickets to create a fake scarcity effect. Sure enough, the scammer sees it and jumps in to buy tickets on Go-eun's fake website to resell and make a profit. Unknowingly, he has fallen into a trap because the website has a GPS positioning device. The scammer contacts Do-ji, who is playing the role of someone who needs to buy tickets urgently and pay in cash. To test him, he asks Do-ji to come to a distant location. But when Do-ji arrives, he immediately tells his accomplices to call and report that he has had an accident, asking him to continue waiting. Do-ji quickly approaches and realizes that they are just a group of teenagers. He immediately lures the scammer into a taxi and takes him straight to the hideout, a gloomy warehouse. Here, Do-ji threatens harshly, while Choi and Park play the role of perverted murderers, wielding axes and spreading blood everywhere. The kid is scared, so he quickly confesses that he is just a part-time worker and has never met the boss. All instructions come over the phone. Do-ji believes that these criminals are not simple. They consider breaking the law as a highly profitable business. And even the person behind the scenes provides manuals and tools for the teenagers to work part-time, turning them into mindless puppets, thinking they are working to earn money, not breaking the law. To expose the person behind the scam, Mr. Choi asks the scammer to call him, lying that he wants to quit. Because of the lack of people, the responsibility to go undercover is assigned to Go-eun, who plays the role of a job seeker, acting innocent and harmless. After submitting her application, Go-eun undergoes a strict authentication process, taking selfies with her fingers in a V shape on her right cheek, followed by a phone interview. Go-eun lies that she used to do telemarketing, promising to quit as soon as she has enough money to pay for a house, making the manager believe her and hire her. Go-eun arrives at the workplace and discovers that it is a self-study room. Inside, there are more than a dozen students, all members of the scam organization. Immediately, a package is delivered quickly to Go-eun, containing a laptop, a phone, and a manual. He carefully instructs her not to use text but to take screenshots to avoid being traced and to answer customers naturally. Meanwhile, the manager is secretly watching Go-eun through the computer camera. But he never thought that he had just hired the wrong person. As soon as she starts working, Go-eun closes the deal. She coordinates with Do-ji to act in a tragic play. Do-ji again plays the role of a ticket buyer, while Go makes up a story about her brother dying in an accident while delivering tickets. Customer Do-ji immediately transfers 7 million won, but it is transferred to her personal account, not the scammer's account. The boss is happily imagining that he has hit the jackpot, unexpectedly receiving a message reporting that the money has been transferred to another account. He calls Go-eun, demanding that she transfer the money back to the company's account. The tone changes from sweet to threatening, but Go-eun calmly announces her resignation. After Go-eun leaves, the part-timers discover that their computers have been infected with a virus. It turns out that Go-eun has installed malware that paralyzes all the scammer's computers. Then she deliberately transfers 30,000 won to him. Consider it as today's training fee. Because my voice is trustworthy, I was able to scam that money. It's my effort. Being played a trick, the manager retaliates by using the same trick, calling a series of food deliveries to Go-eun's address, but he doesn't know that Go-eun and her team have prepared in advance. Under the guidance of Go-eun and Do-ji, the shippers gather at Rainbow Taxi. All the food is bought by Do-ji and shared with the company's drivers. Go-eun happily says that she is a YouTuber and even asks him to order more food, making the manager furious. He then posts photos and personal information of Go-eun online, defaming her as a scammer. Unexpectedly, Go-eun has anticipated all of his next steps and even declares that she is planning to do this job, and his actions are helping her become more famous. Before hanging up, Go-eun also deliberately tells him not to forget to attach her new phone number to the post. Having been played hard by Go-eun, he goes crazy, taking an electric baton to find her, and calls a private detective to find Go-eun's address. At this time, Mr. Choi pretends to be a detective agency employee and gives him the address. As soon as he meets Go-eun, he pulls out an electric gun and rushes over, being unexpectedly knocked down by her, adding a decisive kick. He panics and runs away, but Do Ji-ai has been following closely. He followed him back to his hideout and punched him to knock him down. Do Ji-ai discovered that his house was full of online shopping packages that had been scammed, including the gloves the girl bought for her dad. Do Ji-ai called the two Mr. Park Choi to help bring all the packages back to the real owners. Even so, the kid didn't apologize, even trying to drag Do Ji-ai into the business. At that moment, an express delivery package was sent. He happily showed off that this was a warranty service from his boss, but Do Ji-ai, with the intuition of an agent, recognized the danger. Hearing the ticking sound from inside the box like a timer, he shouted to stop him from opening the box, but it was too late. The box exploded immediately after. It turned out that the warranty here was to eliminate witnesses to cover up. Do Ji-ai ran outside and saw a seafood truck hurriedly leaving. Team Rainbow realized that the kid was just a pawn, and the real person behind the scenes was still a mystery. The truck took the ferry to the island. It seems that the police on the island are also quite familiar with him. Reaching a deserted section, the car stopped. The driver carries down a body wrapped in a bag, puts some money in a piece of paper, and then puts it on a raft and pushes it out to sea. He stood watching emotionlessly, as cold as if he had done this too many times. Meanwhile, based on the license plate number that Do Ji-ai saw, Go-eun quickly located the truck, discovering that it was the car of a salad shop on a small island. In addition, in the scammer's house, there was a low-order lottery ticket and lanterns at the temple, which are also located on the same island. Realizing that this island is not simple, Do Ji-ai immediately went with the director, pretending to be fishing tourists, to go to the island to investigate. After arriving, the two went to a local hotel to rent a room. As soon as the hotel owner opened her mouth, she knew they were fishing tourists. What makes Do Ji-ai and Sung-chul uncomfortable is her cold and rude attitude. After completing the procedures, the two went to Sam-hung Temple. The temple is very large but deserted, with not a single person. Do Ji-ai noticed a series of lights in the shrine. They were originally prayer lights, but instead of writing wishes, they wrote dates and amounts of money as if using lights as accounting books. While they were wondering, the island police arrived and said they had received a report that two strangers had illegally invaded private land. Under the urging of the police, Do Ji-ai and Sung-chul had to leave the temple temporarily. Both felt that whether it was the temple or the police, they were extremely suspicious. At this time, at the foot of the mountain outside the temple, the familiar truck drove past. The problem is that the temple doesn't normally eat fish. Do Ji-ai is even more certain that this place is probably not a temple to worship the Buddha at all. When they got to the car, they saw a stranger sitting in the car. He introduced himself as a photographer and asked for a ride. This guy talked extremely creepily, saying that the people here don't feel like human beings, and he likes to take pictures of the sunset here because it's intense. When he got out of the car, he also wished the two of them good fishing. Do Ji-ai felt even more uneasy. It seemed that everyone on the island knew they were coming to fish. In the evening, Do Ji-ai and Sung-chul return to the hotel, but discover that there are drops of blood on the path to the room. Following the blood trail, the two enter the room and see a burly fisherman sitting there. He had just killed the fish, covered in blood with fierce eyes. He said he wanted to buy their fish, asking why the two of them went fishing but didn't bring back any spoils. Sung-chul runs to tell the hotel owner that a stranger has entered their room, but she coldly says that it is normal for guests to come to buy fish. Meanwhile, a line of people lined up to enter the hotel to hand in their phones and books or something. After that, on the way back to the room, Do Ji-ai always felt like someone was following him. The next day, Go-eun received information about the manager who was killed in the explosion, confirming that he had lived in Cambodia for 1.5 years. What is unusual is that after returning to the country, he went to prison to visit Lee, the phone scam boss in Cambodia. It is clear that even though he is young, he has organized a criminal ecosystem like this thanks to his master. While talking, Sung-chul noticed the truck with the photographer from last night and the police leaving the island. Taking advantage of the fact that the temple was unguarded, Do Ji-ai infiltrated this hideout once again. This time, in a room marked no entry, Do Ji-ai discovered countless bank cards and ID photos, and also saw many hidden monitoring screens in front of the Buddha statue. It turned out that the entire island was being monitored from here. In addition, Du Jiai also noticed that a pen was engraved with the words Judicial Training Institute. It seems that this time their opponent is not ordinary at all. At the same time in Seoul, Mr. Choi handed the gloves back to Dasam. Seeing Dasam happily put on the gloves to give to her dad, Mr. Choi couldn't help but burst into tears. It turns out that this island and the temple are the hideout of the scam gang. Those who come here to burn incense and worship the Buddha are not ordinary believers, but those who want to join the scam organization. In addition to the huge membership fee, the gang also conducts a thorough investigation of the background of each new member. While waiting for the investigation results, they will be detained by the island police. The island police are actually members of the gang, or rather, the temple's hounds. If a problem with a new member is discovered, another hound, Cheol-woong, will immediately take action to kill him and throw the body into the sea. But if they pass the inspection, the police will release them, and from then on, they become official members. These two reporters pretended to be people who wanted to join but failed the inspection. Therefore, the fate that awaits them can only be thrown into the sea. At the head of this gang is Go, who controls everything on the island. Earlier, when Du Jiai and Sung Chul went to investigate, he had already discovered them both but pretended to be a photographer to divert attention. Now, Du Jiai's team is facing the biggest threat ever, almost being wiped out completely. Initially, Sung Chul pretended to be fishing by the sea to divert attention, but in fact, he had been discovered by the other party long ago. They sent the island police to deal with it, making Sung Chul unable to resist, so he had to obediently get on the boat. While Du Jiai infiltrated the hideout through official channels, the remaining members also acted separately. Go-eun followed Cheol-woong's fish truck, while Mr. Choi and Mr. Park followed the photographer Go. In fact, there was no problem with such an assignment, but they underestimated Go. Following the photographer Go, Mr. Park was caught in a sharing session of a group of people who were addicted. Some were addicted to alcohol, some were addicted to tobacco. With his superb acting skills, Go quickly played the role of a screenwriter looking for life materials, making the entire hall applaud. Gradually, it was Mr. Park's turn to share. He was to be Lean Kai himself addicted to inhaling gas. The cunning Go recognized that he was being followed, so he actively waited outside and asked Mr. Park what he was doing here. He stumbled and confessed that he was addicted to drugs, but he glanced and saw that it was unreasonable. His eyes didn't look like a drug user, and his hands didn't have any injection marks. Now, the revenge team of 5 had lost contact with 2 members. It turned out that Go came here to collect data from addicts. After the sharing session, he went to the parking lot, photographed all the license plates of those who were brought to rehab, and sent them back to his assistant. From there, they launched a series of sophisticated scams and extortions aimed directly at these victims. Meanwhile, Go-eun follows Cheol-woong to a seafood warehouse. Inside, the frozen phone boxes were not seafood, but documents and phones used for fraud. Everything is packaged on the island and then transferred to the mainland branches. Even having foreign members receive plane tickets, carrying documents back to their home countries to operate. Just as Go-eun was about to withdraw, Cheol-woong suddenly blocked her path. The Rainbow team lost another member. After losing contact with Mr. Park, Mr. Choi drove to follow the photographer to the island. This decision was not wrong because the safety of teammates is always the top priority. But as soon as he set foot on the island, before he could contact anyone, he fell into Cheol-woong's ambush. So all 4 people were anesthetized, locked in a truck. At this point, the team only had Du Jiai left, who hadn't been caught. That morning, after separating from Sung Chul, Du Jiai immediately returned to the temple. He discovered that the lanterns hanging on the ceiling actually contained information about new members. The different membership fees corresponded to each scam project, and the Buddha statue in the shrine represented the rank of the member. The higher the position, the more money the scam. At that moment, a monk appeared. He was Go's henchman, responsible for managing this temple. Receiving the order to deal with Du Jiai, he quickly located his position through the camera. But instead of running away, Du Jiai calmly burned incense and prayed in the main hall. Before the old monk's questions, Du Jiai pretended to say that he came here to offer a ceremony. Praying like all new members, Du Jiai was immediately detained by the island police. At this time, he didn't even know that his teammates had met with disaster. Meanwhile, the other 4 people, after being anesthetized by Cheol-woong, were taken to the beach, just waiting for Go's order to be thrown into the sea. At that moment, the police suddenly received the order to release Du Jiai. But as soon as he got out, he couldn't contact anyone on the team. Go appeared and invited Du Jiai to dinner, actually wanting to interrogate him himself. He revealed his cold-blooded nature, declaring that Du Jiai's teammates would never answer the phone again. At the same time, Go's assistant brought a laptop to the temple. Her task was to eavesdrop on the entire conversation and check Du Jiai's background. If he said one wrong thing, the other side would immediately find out. Losing contact with the whole team made Du Ji understand that Go's threat was not empty talk. Throughout the conversation, he always stared at him, scrutinizing every slightest emotional change like a hunter waiting for his prey to reveal its weakness. Du Ji admits that he directed everything, but pretends to be a failure, looking for a way to get rich. He said he knew about this line through the introduction of Kim Woo-young, the scammer who was in charge and had been dealt with. Go's brief reaction confirmed that he was Kim Woo-young's boss. The first gate can be considered to have been passed, but the next question is even sharper. If you want to join, first talk about your work experience. Unexpectedly, it was right on Du Ji's strong point. He then recounts his entire career. Completely true. Every story is full of tears. He used to be a math teacher but was bullied by students to the point of quitting his job. He worked at a technology company and his boss went crazy. He went to phone scams and was caught by the prosecutor. He was a shaman without a foundation. He was a nightclub security guard and was raided by the police because of drugs. After listening, Go had to admire his unlucky life and even advised him to change his mindset and become his own boss instead of just working for others forever. If it weren't for the assistant searching the internet, probably no one would believe it. But strangely enough, every word Du Ji said passed the verification. After 2 questions, Du Ji took the initiative to counterattack. He raised his glass of wine, expressing his desire to join the organization, considering it the end of the interrogation. Go announced that his friends would be taken to a safe place. Although temporarily out of danger, they are still trapped on the island. Every word is being listened to, and just one wrong step will pay the price immediately. Suddenly, a strange voice rang out. If I had been thrown into the sea at that time, my body would have drifted to North Korea, and the police wouldn't have been able to investigate. The team was shocked and turned to suspect each other. In the end, they discovered that the person who had just spoken was a reporter who had come to investigate 6 months ago. At that time, he and his senior were captured and thrown into the sea, but he was lucky enough to survive. For the past 6 months, he had been hiding on the island, secretly collecting evidence of the gang's crimes. He only revealed himself now because he was sure that Du Ji's goal coincided with his. In short, the Rainbow Taxi team had just gained an ally who knew a lot about the gang's inner workings. The gang also met to discuss. The monk thought that Du Ji was very suspicious, so they should deal with him early to be sure, but Go directed the monk to talk to Du Ji first. The next morning, the monk set a condition. He had to pay the capital first before being allowed to join the association. Du Ji didn't flinch, making up that he had tricked the taxi company director into mortgaging his house and car to borrow 2 billion to give him to invest. Then he acted cunningly, setting a condition. I want to see the goods and facilities first. The firm attitude made the monk both suspicious and respectful. Du Ji also acted out a scene of calling Go-eun, making the criminals even more trusting. But when scrutinizing his background, they discovered an anomaly. Wherever Du Ji had worked, those around him met with disaster or disappeared. Only he survived. Go immediately set up a meeting with him again to ask him about it. Answering in the usual way would reveal his identity, and silence would also not work. Du Ji then acted deeply, appearing outraged. You mean it's a pity that I didn't die with them? I also risked my life to survive. Coming here to bet wants to change my life, but I have to hear questions like that. Hearing this, Go calmed down, even apologizing for the way he asked that caused the misunderstanding. Now he was completely relieved, considering Du Ji's family and taking him to meet Lee Ki-hoon, who had just been released from prison, and who introduced Kim Woo-young to join the scam gang. Because he knew Kim Woo-young, Du Ji's lies were in danger of being exposed. Fortunately, he responded calmly and temporarily escaped the danger. As soon as he entered the temple, Lee Ki-hoon put down a heavy bag of money. In it was a full 1 billion won, capital he had accumulated to rebuild his career. After being released from prison, Ki-hoon wanted to make it big, but Yerim immediately poured cold water on him, saying that that amount of money was not enough to build a large-scale gambling website. She explained that the operating costs were extremely expensive, from location, equipment, to protection money for the police, at least 150 million won per month. In the end, Ki-hoon had to reluctantly choose to do scams to accumulate capital gradually. Go gave Ki-hoon a USB containing a list of potential scam targets that the gang had collected, and his 10 billion won was taken in full as a membership fee. The 2 young men who came with Ki-hoon also demanded to start a business, but asked to pay later, so they were kicked out. Not reconciled, they threatened to post a clip exposing all the illegal business formulas online. Go pretended to need to discuss internally, telling them to wait outside. As soon as they stepped out the door, they saw executioner Cheol-woong standing there waiting. When Ki-hoon came out, his 2 subordinates had been dealt with. Going back 7 years, at that time Go was still a prosecutor. But instead of arresting criminals, he went to recruit them. The first target was a fraudster pastor. According to the law, he would have to spend at least 7 years in prison. Thinking he would spend his life in prison, Go recruited him to join his startup company. Next was Yurim, a hacker facing a 15-year prison sentence. Before Go's invitation to cooperate, she couldn't help but be wary. Who would believe that a prosecutor would do shady things? To dispel her doubts, Go frankly revealed his dissatisfaction. As a prosecutor, he earns a meager salary. After he arrests criminals, they get out of prison and become rich, so he decided to retire and become his own boss for fun. And from there, this fraudulent paradise island was born. The first generation of the fraud group led by Go included the old pastor, hacker Yirim, corrupt policeman Kim, and mercenary Cheol Wong. What they had in common was that they had all had their prosecutions cancelled by Go himself. Returning to the present, the Rainbow Taxi team has grasped the background of this gang. But the problem is that Go is writing criminal scripts and distributing them to agents around the world. To cut off this line, they must find the server hidden on the island and shut down the entire global fraud network. At this time, the reporter appeared and pointed out where the server was hidden. The team's task was to buy time until the next morning, waiting for Go-eun to get specialized equipment to break the firewall. Do Ji immediately came up with a plan to make the criminals suspect each other. The next morning, according to the plan, Mr. Park returned to the mainland to get equipment for Go-eun under the pretext of getting money to pay the gang. The remaining people then deliberately argued non-stop, arguing about which area to invest in. Then, Do Ji whispered to the boss, "Why don't we just kill that stupid taxi director to avoid having to share the money? He's not the director anymore, but he keeps showing off. It's annoying." At the same time, Sung Chul whispered to the monk, encouraging him to kill Do Ji, taking the pretext that the capital was his and Do Ji didn't respect him. Later, Go-eun suggested that Go kill everyone, making him stunned. He thought that Go-eun and Do Ji were a couple, but now she wants to eliminate Do Ji as well. Seeing the Rainbow Taxi team in chaos, everyone wanting to send others away to gain more shares, Go's gang began to become vague. They suspected that this group had no intention of starting a business at all, but only taking the opportunity to purge each other. As for Go, he had also planned to wait until he had collected enough money, then kill everyone, steal the money, and run away to another place to start over. At that moment, Do Ji discovered that the fish truck had started again. Experience shows that every time this car rolls, someone is taken care of. It turned out that the one being taken away this time was Ki-hoon, who had just paid 10 billion won. He had seen the true intentions of the fraud gang. Do Ji immediately ordered the whole team to buy time at all costs, creating conditions for Go-eun to break in and shut down the server. Immediately after, the Rainbow Taxi team dispersed in each direction, starting the stall plan. Sung Chul plays the role of a gourmet, dragging the monk into an endless debate about rice and soup, talking until he is deaf and has no mind to work. In another direction, Mr. Choi and Mr. Park lure Yirim to gamble and deliberately lose money continuously, making her think she is winning big. Do Ji pretends to meet Go to hand over the money and then drives straight up the mountain. On the way, he babbles about everything. Finally, he suddenly cancels the plan to eliminate Director Jang, instead suggesting killing Go-eun. It's not okay for her to be so beautiful. She'll definitely mess around with others. Hearing this, Go is so angry that he is helpless. "You're really troublesome." Taking advantage of this, Go-eun sneaks into the temple to find the server. She discovers a hidden door under the altar, follows the pipes, and crawls into a large secret basement, where all the data servers are located. After fiddling around, Go-eun breaks the firewall, installs malware, and shuts down the fraud system. After finishing, she calls to report to Do Ji. Do Ji then uses the excuse of going on a date and kicks Go out of the car. Go is both annoyed and headache, not understanding what this couple is like. Receiving the news from Go-eun, the two Choi Park immediately coordinate to strip Yirim of all her money and then withdraw their troops neatly. When Go returns to meet Yirim, he discovers that there is a problem with the server. Putting everything together, he suddenly realizes that he has been tricked by Do Ji. Yirim frantically runs back to the shop and sees that her computer has been soaked in water, with no way to save it. Just as Go-eun leaves the temple, she meets the assassin Cheol Wong. He pushes her down and pulls out a knife, intending to finish her off. At that critical moment, Do Ji rushes over. On one side is a seasoned agent, on the other is a cold-blooded mercenary. A top-notch showdown breaks out. After a long fight, Cheol Wong gradually weakens. He pulls out a tranquilizer, intending to stab Do Ji, unexpectedly controlled by him, stabbing all of it into his own body. Just as Do Ji and Go-eun leave, Go returns to the temple. He rushes down to the basement and is stunned to see that the server has been completely paralyzed. Go calls Du Ji, yelling and asking why he did all this. Du Ji replied coldly. Because of the innocent people, the mothers, the children breaking their piggy banks that were scammed by you. I'm very close to them. Finally, Go understood why people died or disappeared wherever Du Ji appeared. But this time, he was determined to defeat him. He immediately activates the island-wide alarm. The henchmen immediately took up arms and rushed out, filled with murderous intent. The island police frantically blocked the front, but were hit straight by Du Ji. Yurim continued to chase after him, showering bullets like rain. Du Ji reversed the car and turned in another direction, creating a path for Mr. Park's car to take everyone to the ferry. Just then, a car rushed towards them head-on. Luckily, Du Ji steered in time, escaping in the nick of time. However, after being besieged for a while, Du Ji's car was pushed close to the edge of the sea. He had no choice but to step on the gas and resist with all his might. Just as he was about to give up, he suddenly remembered that the car was equipped with a secret feature. He pressed the start button, and a strong electric current was released, burning out the electrical systems of the criminals' cars. It turned out that this was the hot stuff that Mr. Park had secretly added, saving Du Ji's life in the nick of time. But the escaped fish, Go, managed to climb onto a canoe and run away, even turning back to provoke, declaring that he would rebuild from scratch. Unfortunately, Du Ji didn't give him a chance. One shot aimed straight at the engine caused the canoe to explode in the sea, officially ending the fraud dynasty of the former prosecutor. Reporter Bong had a lifetime report, and the Rainbow Taxi team finished the mission, happily inviting each other to eat grilled beef. Today, a special guest visits Du Ji. It is Park, Du Ji's former comrade in the military. Old friends visit. Du Ji is very happy. He even specially asks for half a day off to chat with his friend. However, Park didn't just come to reminisce about the old days. On the way, he gave Du Ji a petition and mentioned another comrade, Sun-A. Sun-A, like Park, was once Du Ji's student when he was an instructor in the Special Forces. Now, after many years of separation, Park suddenly reports that Sun-A has passed away. With unspeakable shock, Du Ji follows Park to the Ash Preservation Tower to visit Sun-A. The scene of their farewell years ago comes to his mind. That year, Du Ji had to leave the military for some reason. Sun-A and Park made an appointment with him that they would definitely wait for him to come back. Now, facing the fact that Sun-A has suddenly passed away, Du Ji cannot hold back his tears. At the same time, he also decided to find out the secret behind the cause of death of his comrade. On that day, Du Ji applied to return to the military, and then threw away the phone he used to contact Go-eun and everyone. Go-eun was extremely worried that she hadn't seen Du Ji come back for a day and couldn't call his phone. So that night, she drove her motorcycle everywhere looking for Du Ji. Took about 2 weeks for a clue. Go-eun found Du Ji's taxi abandoned on the side of the road. Kyung-koo and Ji-neon were also worried. Du Ji's leaving the taxi here must mean something bad had happened. Go-eun checked the nearby surveillance camera and discovered that Du Ji had visited Sun-A. The investigation revealed that Sun-A had left the training area on his own without a reason and then died in an explosion while fleeing. For the mistake he had committed, he was severely disciplined, demoted, and discharged. Everyone was extremely worried about Du Ji, but in the camera, they saw him throwing away his phone himself, which made them believe that Du Ji didn't want them to find him. After worrying for several days, finally, one day, everyone's pagers received a message at the same time. The message was definitely sent by Du Ji, but the fact that he didn't call or text SMS made the team have a bad feeling. Du Ji must be in danger? The situation is very urgent. The group decided to go find Du Ji. Go-eun used the pager signal to locate Du Ji's location. She discovered that the satellite map of this area had been blurred, and judged that there must be a military presence here. And the last place Sun-A was before he died was a field military unit. To infiltrate this unit smoothly, Go-eun came up with a plan. This time, Ji-neon will have to take action, re-enlisting as a soldier. Although extremely reluctant, to ensure Du Ji's safety, Ji-neon still came to the camp with a bored face. As soon as he arrived, Ji-neon naively asked the military seniors if they had seen Du Ji, and also confirmed that he was not a new recruit. As a result, he was welcomed by the seniors with a spectacular punishment. Sung-chul was worried that Ji-neon couldn't handle it alone, so he also decided to infiltrate the military. With his skills and daring, Sung-chul disguised himself as a high-ranking general, righteously entering the camp under the guise of going on inspection. After entering, thanks to the camera attached to the glasses, Sung-chul transmitted the camp's combat map to Go-eun. He also lied to the soldiers that he was Ji-neon's father and came here to visit his son. After meeting Ji-neon, Sung-chul ignored his surprised face and hurriedly told his son to take him to inspect the camp. Taking this opportunity, the two searched everywhere to find Du Ji. Go-eun and Kyung-koo couldn't sit still either. After a while, they also arrived at the camp, disguised as people from the military welfare unit, bringing the soldiers a truck full of snacks and soft drinks. While the soldiers were scrambling to get food, Go-eun casually went into the camp. Taking the name of coming to repair the system, she began searching inside the unit and soon gathered with Jin Eon and Sung Chul in a room. Go-eun found Do Ji-ai's taxi keys and believed that he had been here. Outside, Kyung-koo was using snacks and drinks to win the hearts of the soldiers. One of the soldiers raised his hand, saying that he had cleaned Do Ji-ai's room. As soon as Kyung-koo was about to ask more, unexpectedly, the group's cover was quickly revealed. The lieutenant colonel in the military discovered that no general had come to inspect. He realized that the group was all scammers and questioned who they were in the end. Faced with dozens of guns, Kyung-koo and everyone immediately trembled in fear. At this moment, a car drove from afar, and the person who stepped down was Do Ji-ai. Do Ji-ai has appeared safely. Go-eun and the group finally breathed a sigh of relief. For the past 2 weeks, Do Ji-ai had indeed experienced some things. To investigate the secret of Sun A's death, he contacted his superiors in the military, because he had been discharged for more than 3 years as stipulated. Returning to the military was not easy. Fortunately, the superiors came up with a way. Recently, in a military area, a rare and endangered bird species was discovered. The superiors took this opportunity to send Do Ji-ai there to conduct a 3-week survey. So, one night 2 weeks ago, under the guise of investigating birds, Do Ji-ai returned to the military camp after many years of separation. Park then came here intending to investigate with Do Ji-ai. The lieutenant colonel had a not-so-friendly tone and knew very well about Do Ji-ai's background. Do Ji-ai was once an instructor at the Special Forces School and had participated in commanding operations and intelligence. Why would such a top expert be sent to investigate birds? The lieutenant colonel told the soldiers to follow and monitor Do Ji-ai to find out his true purpose, no matter the cost. Do Ji-ai and Park went out to eat noodles and talked about Sun A's disciplinary report. The report wrote that, during training, Sun A abandoned his teammates, stole weapons, and tried to approach the North Korean side. However, with his understanding of Sun A, Do Ji-ai couldn't believe that she would do such things. In addition, Do Ji-ai quickly discovered that he was being followed. He decisively confiscated the cameras that the soldiers used to take secret photos of him, then texted the lieutenant colonel to thank him for lending him the camera. This made the lieutenant colonel even more convinced that Do Ji-ai's purpose was not simple. He ordered the soldiers to find out Do Ji-ai's plan at all costs. Do Ji-ai is reviewing the investigation report on Sun A's incident. According to the report, on the day of the incident, on the way to the combat training area, Sun A suddenly asked all members to get out of the car and return to the unit. On this point, the members' testimonies were unanimous. Perhaps they were not lying. To find out where the problem lay, Do Ji-ai and Park found the car that Sun A drove that day. They discovered a soldier playing a gambling game on his phone in the unit. Taking that as a weakness to threaten, they asked that soldier to get the footage of the car's journey. After getting the footage, Do Ji-ai decided to repeat that route again. However, before the action could begin, the lieutenant colonel called Do Ji-ai and questioned why he was investigating someone who had died and was considered a traitor. Do Ji-ai no longer hid. He asked the lieutenant colonel in return why he was so sure that Sun A's action was a transaction with the North Korean side. After all, the lieutenant colonel was not present at the scene at that time, and the so-called transaction never actually took place. The lieutenant colonel said to Do Ji-ai aggressively that the fact that Sun A let his teammates leave and drove the car carrying weapons towards North Korea was enough to prove her treasonous act. Faced with the lieutenant colonel's anger, Do Ji-ai refused to answer any questions. The lieutenant colonel got angry, thinking that Do Ji-ai had support behind him and planned to meet the general to resolve this matter. Based on the footage of the car's journey, Do Ji-ai and Park went into the mountains. Park discovered that this place was very close to the shooting training location that day. With suspicion, the two went to the training area. This place still retained the mountain caves used for training, and the weapons on one of the racks had been taken away. Following the correct route of that day, Do Ji-ai came to a fork in the road. Here he made a judgment, believing that Sun A did not intend to go to North Korea, but the original road had been blocked, so she had no choice but to find another way. Walking along this road, Do Ji-ai came to the border area. Here he discovered a bird's nest. In the past, Do Ji-ai taught Sun A that if she encountered an emergency, she could hide important documents in a secure and water-resistant bird's nest. Thinking of this, Do Ji-ai told Park to take the bird's nest from the tree. As expected, something was hidden inside the bird's nest. Opening it, it was a camera. On the day of the incident, Sun A used this camera to record the entire process, because she was sure that, if she had an accident, Do Ji-ai would definitely come here. After a strategy meeting regarding border defense against North Korea, Colonel Kim held Sun aback while the other officers dispersed. He handed her a map and ordered a change for the upcoming training exercise. Switch the route from Sector K-43 to B-24. It sounded routine, but the moment Sun looked at the map, her gut told her something was wrong. She tried to call it in from a phone booth, but seeing the colonel's car speed away, she instinctively followed him instead. She tailed him all the way to Sector B-24. From a distance, she watched in horror as troops secretly swapped their standard training gear for vests rigged with live detonators. This wasn't a mistake, it was a setup. The next day, Sun A executed her own plan. She abruptly ordered her 8-person squad off the truck and commanded them to return to base immediately. Ignoring Colonel Kim's frantic demands over the radio, she drove the truck toward the target zone alone. Finally, she snapped, voice shaking with rage. She broadcasted over the open channel, screaming that they were unworthy of their uniforms for treating soldiers' lives as disposable pawns. She raided the site, loading the rigged vests and incriminating documents into her truck, determined to take the evidence to military court. But as she tried to leave, Colonel Kim blocked her path. He switched tactics, soft-soaping her about her pension and her mother, asking if she really wanted to throw her life away. Torn, Sun remembered Du Jiai's golden rule. Survival comes first. She slammed on the gas to escape, but the road led straight to the North Korean border. She was trapped. Acting fast, she hid the dashcam in a sturdy bird's nest, just as Du Jiai had taught her, and left a note. Then she made the ultimate sacrifice, driving her vehicle into a massive explosion at the border to protect the truth. Colonel Kim coldly filed the report. Sergeant Sun A was branded a traitor who died attempting to defect to the north. But internally, he was terrified of General O finding out the mess he'd made. When Du Jiai and Sergeant Park recovered the footage, the truth hit them hard. Du Jiai's eyes went dark. He knew the legal system wouldn't work here. They needed to get their hands dirty. The Rainbow Taxi team infiltrated the area posing as an ecological survey group. Tensions spiked when they were stopped, but a fake call from a General Sang-hun, orchestrated by the team, forced Colonel Kim to let them pass. Once inside, Du Jiai showed the Team Sun A's final moments. They didn't blame him for going rogue. They simply stood by him. We carry this together, they decided. The plan was set. They cut the power to the facility. While the two mechanics climbed utility poles to distract the guards, Goon hacked the mainframe. She secured the data and discovered the villains were restarting the deadly project. Meanwhile, Colonel Kim alerted General O about the suspicious bird watchers. Mentioning Du Jiai, General O immediately ordered a hit. Pull it out by the roots. That night, Goon drove to the Human Rights Center to hand over the evidence. At a gas station, she was ambushed. Thugs tore open the car doors, not realizing Du Jiai was lying in wait in the backseat. He exploded into action, fighting off an armed attacker while seeing another strangle Goon. Du Jiai managed to save her, but in the chaos, one thug escaped with the camera and delivered it straight to General O. Du Jiai watched the events unfold, paralyzed by his inability to intervene. Upon his return, he received devastating intelligence. General O planned to launch his operation on December 13th at Shangxiang. Du Jiai needed to prepare for a confrontation, but studying the tactical maps revealed a grim reality. There was no escape route. It was a suicide mission. Accepting that peace required sacrifice, he urged Lieutenant Park and the others to stand down, unwilling to spill any more blood on his account. Meanwhile, Goon's investigation revealed that General O was ostensibly retired, living quietly as a chicken farmer. However, he was secretly reliving his glory days from the Korean War. Under the guise of national security, he intended to declare martial law. During a high-stakes dinner to finalize the vote, O spilled his drink. Goon, disguised as a waitress, seized the moment to swipe a document from his pocket. It contained the operation timeline and arrest warrants for the entire Rainbow Taxi team. General O thought he had won, unaware of the trap laid for him. The evidence he had confiscated earlier contained a microscopic hidden camera. D-Day arrived. The military assembled, armed to the teeth. General O entered the command center and gave the order to fire. The countdown hit 0, but instead of a catastrophic barrage, there was dead silence. The system had been jammed. Furious, O demanded the manual override, but the squad leader refused, citing civilians in Sector B-24. Desperate and isolated, General O drew his sidearm, threatening his own men, but they stood their ground. With no other option, he triggered the launch himself. The sky filled with projectiles, but instead of explosions and screams, the air lit up with colorful fireworks. It was a dazzling symbol of peace. The corrupt officials at the dinner tried to flee but were immediately handcuffed by police. Realizing he had been played, General O fled with his weapon. The Rainbow Taxi team anticipated his move, boxing his car in and forcing a crash. Du Ji stepped out, telling Oh it was over. But the general, refusing to surrender, opened fire. Du Ji took a bullet to the shoulder but kept walking forward, pleading with Oh to stop. Oh fired again and again, dropping Du Ji to his knees. Standing over him, General Oh sneered, ready to deliver the kill shot. Suddenly, Du Ji summoned his last ounce of strength, tackling the general. They both plummeted off the cliff, disappearing into the dark waters below. Following that day, Du Ji remained missing, presumed dead. The team grieved deeply but knew they had to keep living. Sometime later, a wealthy heiress searching for her missing twin sister heard rumors of a sage in the mountains who knew everything. She trekked up the rugged path and found a pottery workshop. She called out to the craftsman. When he turned around, revealing a muscular physique and a familiar, handsome face, she froze. It was him. "Can I buy you a glass of wine?" she asked flirtatiously. "I have a feeling we'd get along." This ambiguous ending has fans buzzing. Is this the setup for an explosive return of Kim Do-ji in Season 4? How will the Rainbow Taxi team react when they learn their leader is still alive? The answer remains to be seen. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update. See you next time.